Hello, hello. I am live, but not quite from the Hive this evening. Thank you for dropping in, everybody. I do have some folks on the way to come hang out with me, and I've been decided to invite more. I'm going to try to steal people from Wild Heart's panel because I want Pixie to come hang out with me. Um, but hey, it's my birthday, and I am all alone here, so come hang out with me. I did spend some time over there hanging out with Wildheart and the crew over there. This morning I scared Jill. It was fun stuff. Oh, I guess I could come on camera. I don't need to be off camera. Always better when I feel like I can talk to you guys. So, hello, hello, and welcome. This is not the Hive. This is my mom's little corner of paradise, and it's up in it's sky themed. You see her big cloud back here and the blue walls, and there's pictures of beautiful beaches with blue skies all around me. It's kind of soothing in here, so I'm not going to complain about my environment right now because it's very soothing. And um, yeah, and thank you. And since I'm on StreamYard, and that's because my OBS is not really cooperating too well. Can you guys hear me okay? Hopefully I sound all right. Hopefully I sound loud enough. Let me know if there's any audio issues or anything for you guys. Okay. Yeah, come on in, Mage Grey Wolf. I'm gonna drop the link in the side chat in here in just a second. I just I want to blurb for a minute, so and say hi to everybody. But thank you so much for the happy birthday. We got to look at the trees, appreciate it. Oh my God, Sandy, happy birthday. I'm trying to make it a happy birthday. Cosmic Kyle, I would love it if you wanted to come in and hang out for a little bit. I love hanging out with you. Oh, thank you, Mark Caesar. Always appreciate seeing you out there hanging out and being cool. And then we have Spooky, sneaking away from Wild Heart's side chat. I know because I'm still in there. I'm still on the side chat over there looking at on this other window. It's actually because if I didn't have anybody come in, I'd still want to have something to talk about by going over stuff in that stream. Who else do we have here? Julie and Stool. Hey, Stool, Cakes and Pies. Julie, giving me some happy birthday love. My Deep Arts. Good to see you, Deep. Uh-huh. We got Cryptomeria. Hello. Goodness, Jenna's here. Hey, Jenna. Hey. I knew you'd be at work, Jenna. You're out west, and it's still only 3 o'clock. I would be at work too if I worked today. I had the day off to deal with. Well, to deal with my birthday. I'll put it that way. I had the day off to deal with my birthday. All right. I will drop the link into the side chat here in a second, but I do have a co-host that I would like to welcome on because she's been patiently waiting while I did my little intro spiel. But Amanda, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So thanks for coming in and being my co-pilot. It's nice to have some support on stream. I'm gonna drop the unless you had anything you wanted to go over first before I start letting people come on in.
No, just happy birthday. Glad to see you.
Yeah, awesome. Let me drop it in. Okay. So, um, if anybody doesn't know, I'm currently not at the Hive. I'm going through separation with my spouse, and uh, my stuff's there. You didn't know I have tattoos? Got spiders all over me. Look at that. So anyway, I'm just saying I'm not home right now, so content's gonna be a little bit different for the next couple of weeks to the next month or so. I am going to start looking at places here shortly. Uh, I will be probably staying. I'm trying to look for places in Illinois. I got a potential roommate if we can get her moved up here. Hello, Mage Wolf.
Hey,
How are you?
not bad. I actually got to rest and sleep in today, so I'm all recharged.
That's good. Yeah,
Happy birthday!
thank you. I'm pretty exhausted myself, even though I slept for so long. I'm still feeling groggy. I don't know. I did eat a lot too. My oldest son came and he came over and took me out for lunch. So him and his girlfriend did. Really nice of him. We went and had lunch and got ice cream.
Yeah, I went up, watered my whole garden. Some stuff died back because of all this heat and stuff. As soon as it was done watering, it rained.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. If you want it to rain, just water your garden.
Yeah, it's like washing your car.
Yeah. Um, yeah. We've been in a drought here. It's actually affecting the crops, you know, but obviously, climate change is a good thing, right? I mean,
Oh, of course,
it's
yeah,
helpful.
totally.
It moves it makes it so we can grow more crops for longer, right, Manda?
According to the Republicans, I think, yeah, they want to go back to, dinosaur days when it's
Mhm.
all hot and swampy everywhere, and they think
Look,
that's gonna produce more food or some shit. I don't know.
It,
yeah,
it, it will not be optimal for us as a species. We will have to adapt and rebuild cities.
yes. In fact, I'm already having to adapt. Just compared to like in the late '90s, where I was doing horticulture class in high school,
Mhm.
to now, I've basically had to relearn how to garden during that time.
Oh yeah, the zoning has shifted, I think, for
Yeah,
gardening.
yeah,
Um,
but back in the day, it was like 9A in my area. Now it's 10NA.
are you? I'm in the Upper Midwest. I think. I was thinking we were in. Let's look at the zone chart. Hold on.
So I actually have to look into heat tolerant in crops to actually grow around here now.
Yeah. So which one? Which zone did you say you were in?
10A.
10A.
Effectively, I don't have a winter.
Okay. Yeah, you're pretty dang tropical, honestly. Or hot. I am in 6.
And in fact, last year the weather was like a 11, zone 11 last year.
But uh, plants and fauna too. I mean, if you want to use these zones for fauna or for flora and fauna, they are moving from what will be at the 7 zone to up to a. I'm going to pull this up so we can see it. See what we're talking about.
Well, zones are basically the cold seasons based
yeah,
on that.
we have some probably non-American folks in the live chat, so I'm gonna share this. Yeah, so accept your cookies, dang. So yeah, this is what we're talking about right here. Sorry if this is super boring, but the yellow is where is what I'm usually in the light green, but the yellow is what we're able to actually grow around here now, or starting to be able to. I had several plants that are considered annual in that light green zone survive several years now outside without because you'll take plants like that and you'll plant them as annuals when you're at a zone, like something you plant that might survive in the yellow zone. You can still plant as a seasonal plant in your light green zone. But
Yeah.
so I do like gardening. If you can't tell, I miss my butterfly bushes too. I can't take pictures of them. Hey,
Yeah, I've been meaning to plant some nice butterfly garden.
me too. Me too.
Though it was nice. A few days ago, I was walking around taking care of the chickens, and I had a little ladybug land on me. It had no spots on it.
Huh. Well, so ladybugs. I know generally you think of the red and black spots, but they come in a rainbow of
Oh
colors.
yes.
There's yellow ones and green ones and brown ones and white ones.
Never seen a green one.
Yeah, there's
It's
green
interesting.
ones. There's the ones with stripes and ones with like one spot on each wing, and
Seen the striped ones. Yeah.
so they're pretty cool. Hi, Robbie. Thank you for sending some birthday love. Oh, we've got a cupcake in the crew. Hey,
Hello, happy birthday.
hey, cupcake. Thank you. Yeah, glad you could pull yourself away from whatever you're doing to come in and see me, because I haven't been able to talk to you like in person or been so long. It's great to see you. Thank you.
I was at work. I'd have been here earlier.
Yeah. We did. When was our last game of critical questions? It was for the fundraiser for Diana.
I'm setting OBS up at the moment, and hopefully in the next. I was hoping to do it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I would have. So this was kind of impromptu, or I would have asked one of my friends to just host me on Streamlabs with my stuff, so I could have my images. Because I see Stool out there asking for mermaids, and I actually have mermaids available on my background, but I don't have them here now. And I haven't set up your script either, Dave, on this computer yet, but I sure will. And I just called you Dave, and I'm sorry about that. Cupcake. I like calling you Cupcake better.
Did you have to go into work?
No, I took the day off today. I had other stuff I had to do this morning, so and I thought, it's my birthday, take the day off.
Everybody should have the day off on their birthday if they want.
Yeah, hanging out with you peeps. Oh, thank you for the happy birthday, Oz. Much love from the Hive. Glad to see that you guys are popping in. So Cupcake, how are you? How you been doing?
Terrible, mostly.
Yeah, I'm with you, girl. Yeah, I feel it. But yeah, hopefully get things back up and moving now. Trying to keep positive, keep my eyes ahead. Got lots of trials and tribulations to tread through.
We have ridiculous heat planned for the weekend, so that means I have to probably work all of it, which, considering I do very little, is going to be hell.
So, what's the weather been like there? You say heat? Has it been like about 35 or so?
No, 35. Everyone in the UK would be dead.
Yeah.
I mean, we are freaking out about the 31 that's forecast.
So it's been around that here for off and on for the last couple of days. Pretty hot. I don't usually give my temperatures in the Celsius or centigrade, so I have to do conversions in my head. But right now it's like 92 outside Fahrenheit. We have to do everything backwards here. Did we lose Manda? Manda, where did you go?
Oh, come on.
Hopefully she comes back.
35 isn't all that bad. It's only 95 Fahrenheit.
Well, 35? Yeah, I know. That's what, but the temperature, I was comparing it to the temperature it's been here. So to give Cupcake some comparison. But yeah, it doesn't get that hot too often over there. Maybe down in the south. But yeah, Cupcake's in the UK.
I've been going with Celsius, so I've been around 30 to 33 averaging.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're in a tropical zone. There's more difference between day and night any given day than there is between seasons, At least that's what it's like out. I don't know if you're in the desert or if you're some place where it's a little bit more humid, but in the desert, there's more difference between the average night, the high and low between night and day than there is difference between high and low between seasons.
Yeah. Here we have summer, second summer,
Mhm.
slightly cooler summer, and air conditioned.
Right. Well, there you go. You ever get to turn your air conditioner off?
Um, Actually, sometimes I do have to switch to the heat when what
Oh,
we call winter.
yeah.
But
Sorry, I can't stay. I've been awake late the last few days. Need to pass out. Where's the bikini? Well, I'm wearing a. I didn't think that I needed to come on in a bikini. If people want to see me in a bikini, I've been on other people's shows in a bikini last week. Uh, that's what Math Pig was saying. Oh, there she is. Welcome back, Amanda.
Sorry. Having connection issues. I
Oh,
hear them.
what your seagulls?
That's not my seagulls.
I don't
Nowhere
mind.
near an
They're
ocean.
attacking everything because there are the fledglings.
Oh, they're hungry. Feed them.
No,
Are they
viciously attacking anyone that moves.
Hide, Cupcake. You're too delicious to be eaten by seagulls. Hide. Oh, well, and Robbie, if you change your mind, I might be going for a while here. So maybe come back after you take a nap. Again, Cosmic Kyle, just drop a line again. I would love for you to come in and hang out too. Anybody else who wants to come in is welcome. I think I can hold up to 6 on this account. Um, so space is limited, but yeah, I'm looking to. I don't usually do big panels, but I miss my friends, and it's been a while because I haven't been able to do my show on my regular schedule. I haven't been able to pop in to other people's shows on my regular schedule. Like I miss going into Answers in Atheism with Speed of Sound to Gravity. Or sorry, it doesn't do gravity, more Speed of Sound. I do miss that. I miss hanging out with all you guys. Also miss Critical Questions so much. I'm glad I get the little pop ups clipped out that you've done, Cupcake. I feel like I'm by the ocean.
sounds like it.
Quite close.
Oh, so what have you guys been up to? It's okay, Julie. No worries.
What have I done today?
Mhm.
I don't know anything. I've mostly been working on point of sale stuff.
Yeah,
Not fun.
not the fun stuff.
Uh,
I miss the fun stuff. Do you have any? Uh, do you have any critical questions that you want to ask the panel?
no, I need to do all the new ones secret. Thanks to loan, I've got lots and lots and lots ready in the bank, ready to go.
Yeah, we got your locked and loaded. Yeah, we're still good for Saturday, Robbie. No worries. We will still be making that happen. We got who do we got out here? We got 14 watching. Oh, Shane, thank you so much for dropping by. Just saying hi to everybody who's giving me happy birthday. um, so did you guys see me and Amanda's interaction with the Raging Atheist the other night?
Nope.
Yeah, we were on Ger's stream, and Amanda came in there. I invited her in because she was saying, having kind of a low day. I'm like, hey, come hang out. There's good people in here, friends and stuff. And she got in there, and freaking Rage just started accusing her of like talking shit about him. And then
Yeah, he said something about like, oh, you're always talking shit to me in my side chat, which A has never happened, and B, I haven't even been around in like a year, so I don't know where he came up with that, but yeah.
And then started talking about, and this is something else I wanted to let everybody know about if you hadn't heard yet. Hopswatch has passed away earlier
Yeah, I
this.
heard about that. That's a shame.
Yeah. So that is a thing that's making the world just a little bit cruddier among all the other things. And Amanda was better friends with Hops than I was, so she was more broken up about it than anybody else on the panel. And Knock just wouldn't back off of her, even though she said that. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know what the deal was, but it's like, dude. And he said he was going to do a response to it. He started to do a response, and he got up to the part where that happened, and he stopped and never followed through with it. So I don't know if he's dropping the topic or.
But yeah, he did his first stream where he went after Gurr and Nathaniel started in on top Unstoppable Blue. And he's like, I'm going after Unstoppable Blue next. And he said he was going to start because this was like he had jumped on right after the streams. It was like 3:00 in the morning. They streamed for 3 hours. Said he was going to do it first thing the next morning and just never did. So, if he like actually took the time to go back and see, he was kind of awful and also wrong, but didn't bother to, say, hey, I'm sorry, I was a horrible person to you. So that was fun. It was not a great day.
Were you the one he was calling Unstoppable Blue?
Yeah.
Where did you get that from?
Just because my name has blue in it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not unstoppable. Everything in my life is broken. So.
Well, it hasn't stopped yet, has it?
I mean, it's not good. Yeah. I'm breathing. That's about all I have to offer at the moment. So, but it was completely unnecessary. Like he's yelling about how, I've lost friends too. Like, okay, I'm sorry for that.
That Rage had you confused with somebody else.
I don't know who. It was just. Did he say that, Spooky? Because like I said, I disagreed with him, but I've never talked shit about him or to him. Not in his side chat, not anywhere. Like, yeah. I don't do that to people, so I don't know.
And we all dispute things, and that's what we do. We're a fucking skeptic community. Primarily, that's what we fucking do, is disagree with each other about everything and dispute different topics.
But I mean, after like the week I had just that day been displaced again. And we lost fucking everything. Like, my kid and I are fucking starving, and he's screaming at me about fucking. It was just unnecessary, and it would have been nice if he just said he was sorry. That's all.
Yeah. So if he had you mistaken with somebody else, he can come out and say that, and we'll be like, "Oh, okay." I don't know who, explain who and why, but if he really thinks that you said something for him to be aggressive about like that, then he needs to explain that too, because he never gave any answer to what it was that you did or said that had him on edge. But whatever. It's only early morning here in Perth, but I've poured a beer and raised my glass to Hopswatch. Farewell to. Thank you. Yeah, he's a good dude. I used to go over and watch. He had like R and Raw on and stuff. He had my friend Peter on all the time. I don't know if there's Peter out there in the chat. I don't know if you're out there, Peter. You can come in too. But yeah, he'd have great guests on to talk about, and then they'd talk about beer and basically the evolution of beer, which is in and of itself is kind of a neat cultural development. Well, yeah, it's mostly makeup, Carol. I have good friends who help me out with my makeup. I have not started any hormones. Just been doing the over-the-counter stuff to get prepared for it, vitamins and things like that, to prepare for that sort of transformation that I'm going to go into. So you're still seeing me in my cocoon. Just what I'm doing right now is drawing a butterfly on the outside of my cocoon. But hopefully we'll move forward on that.
Well, you got the voice down already.
Yeah, well, I've always had this voice. I would I've trained myself through my life to deepen my voice so that I sound more masculine, talk like this, because I grew up in a culture where if I talk like this in my normal voice that actually comes out of my throat, if I don't change anything about it, I get stigmatized and targeted for just something about myself I can't even have. I can control. That's the thing too. You can. And that was the message that I got, is that you can control that and make yourself sound more manly. So you should stop and you should do that. That's what culture taught me throughout my life. Isn't that just tragic that we have to live like that? Hey, Lone. Oh, is that who we're talking about? A channel called the Blue Unstoppable. I've seen in chat. Okay. And yes, I am fine with coming. I did get your message on Facebook. I was kind of sticking a pin and responding to invites onto other shows for the moment because of my living situation. I can do strings, but I don't have a signal kind of like this. You see, I'm kind of choppy. I don't know if my audio choppy.
Nope.
Or just the video is choppy and kind of laggy. So I'll be like this if you're fine with me coming on like that. I do have my bugs here. I've had some losses along the way. Some beloved losses too. I lost my maybe not beloved to everybody, but I lost my giant hairy desert scorpion that I've had for it was the oldest creature I still had in the hive. So not the oldest one I've ever had, but not even the oldest desert scorpion, but it was definitely the oldest in my collection. And it passed away in the move. Actually, it passed away while I was not able to care for it. So did my green bottle blue, which was one of my newer tarantulas that I just got. So I've been dealing with some freaking loss here, but I did manage to have my bugs stay with me, and we're going to persevere, right? And we're going to keep on keeping on.
When I was younger, my dad had a red-legged tarantula as a pet.
Yeah, I do have a fire-legged tarantula, Brachypelma, which is the red leg, is closely related. They're both in the genus Brachypelma, and they're both native to North America. The most famous is the Mexican red knee. That's the one that made it real big in the pet trade. It's got the stripes on its legs. But yeah, the red leg and the flame leg, all beautiful tarantulas and very docile. Thank you, Angie. Oh, killer cheekbones. I hope so. Oh. Talk among yourselves for a second. I gotta get the charger for this PC. I'll be right back.
Anything going on there with everyone else?
No, I've got Pride coming up. I'm really hoping I'm going to be well enough to go to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't take me long to get this. So now I'm not going to die. Thank you again for the birthday wishes, everybody. Love you. Oh, look. Germania is here. You want to come in, Ger? Let me know. It goes for. I haven't seen anybody in the side chat that wouldn't come in, but I can hold up to 6. So, oh yeah, Paul Kamish, how is your tarantula doing? Paul Kamish has been keeping me entertained with updated regular. Well, for a while we're doing updated videos. It's been a minute, but with regular videos of a tarantula that he inherited. So yeah, keep those coming. They give me a reason to roll out of bed. And yeah, Lone, Cupcake was just talking about you. They were just talking about you, giving them questions for critical questions. Oh shit, yours here. Yeah. What are we gonna do? Yours bound to show up sooner or later, right? Can't just have a stream. Oh, and there's my friend Maya. Hey Maya. Yep. Anybody who wants to pop in for a bit. Paul's in the bath. That's exciting. Paul Kamish coming out of his life from the bath. So I have all this stuff set up on my main PC for I have a few weeks worth of content still left, but it's about to run out. So depending on how things go, my channel may go quiet for a little bit with as far as releasing pre-recorded content. It will be back soon. I just don't have it here to upload it and schedule it, or some of it I don't have it to edit either. Hey, Lone.
Hello.
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 Hey.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bree. Happy birthday to you.
Yay.
Thank you. I had Sammy sing Three Little Birds to me earlier today.
Oh.
By Bob Marley.
Mm-hmm.
Love that song. So that was sweet.
Yes, I woke up with horror this morning, realizing between COVID and everything else that's been happening in my life that I had forgotten Critical Cupcake's birthday. That I was looking at, and then I told Critical, and it was it's Bree's birthday too, and I was oh god. So it was 6 a.m. Hi, happy birthday.
I think Robbie has a birthday coming up too. After,
I know Purple has a birthday coming up next week. It's on. She'll be doing a stream on Tuesday instead of Wednesday for it.
Yeah.
I guess it was a long, cold, lonely winter. We have all these July babies. It would have been autumn, winter.
That's what my mom used to always say, that as soon as it gets cold, that's when people start conceiving.
Well, down here it's hurricane season, it's baby making season.
Baby making season.
Nothing else to do when the power's out.
Oh, that sounds fun. I think we should just call it baby making season.
Well, the sex part's good, not the kids though.
Yeah, just practice making the kids. You don't actually have to make one. It's the practice that's fun anyway.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I got a vasectomy. That way I can practice all I want without having to worry about any mistakes.
Yay!
If you're a person with a penis, whether you're a man or a woman for that matter, and you love your partner, get a vasectomy instead of making them go on birth control, because it's better for the whole situation, because they're being on hormones like that all the time kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Wrecks your body.
I wish he'd go get a vasectomy.
Yeah, it took me years to finally realize, hey, you're being kind of selfish about this and want to get a vasectomy.
Exactly.
But I've always heard of surgeries and stuff, so.
Why not? So, how's life down there right now, or over where you are?
Where I am?
Yeah.
I'm in Missouri right now. It's very very conservative and rural. I get stared at a lot when I go out in public, which is whatever. I moved back to my childhood home temporarily, so I'm in like the hometown I grew up in, but I don't know if anybody recognizes me or not. I doubt it very much. I haven't lived here. I moved out of this town not that long ago, like 6 years ago, but I'm back now. But it's not a place where I want to be, and I'm ready to get back because of this city I live in Illinois is a little bit bigger, and there's more to do, and I can have stuff DoorDash to me. I miss DoorDash because I'm too lazy to cook, I guess. How are you doing? How's things down? You're down south, aren't you?
Yep, Louisiana. Yeah, no, it's going good. Just hoping that we don't have a bad hurricane season or a baby making season, which we've now called it.
Mm.
You know, and just making sure the house is ready for that. You know, doing yard work, keeping everything clean. You know, doing all those domestic bliss things like checking the roofs and everything before it really gets started. We just spent the past 18 days having people coming in and out of the house because people were coming down for summer break, and then there was a little family reunion. And I've never been more exhausted in my life. And then hoping that I don't get COVID again because a whole bunch of people at this thing got COVID. But
Yeah.
it was 4th of July and I haven't had any symptoms, so I think I'm good. I hope.
One of the people that was just a couple of cubicles down from me at work got COVID, so now I'm kind of spazzing about that.
Oh no.
I've so far managed to avoid getting COVID, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. Although, I know I should probably test myself again before we go to the movies on Saturday, but the vindictive part of me that wants to see Love and Thunder wants to test myself after the movie. But I mean, I tested on Tuesday, and I was good.
Yeah, I was actually planning to see the Sonic movie just as the whole pandemic was hitting, and I heard that there were gay cases in my area, and I'm like, okay, I'll skip it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've already booked the tickets, and it's non-refundable, so I'll wear a mask.
My son works in the theater. I always worry about him getting COVID, but he's not got it yet. He got vaccinations and stuff, and they wear masks in the theater. So, yeah, I think they've recently lifted that, but we keep having spikes here that make everybody want to. Well, different companies put policies back on about masks, so it's kind of like you have to have one with you just in case. But like doctors' offices and stuff are still requiring masks.
Yeah.
Well, I still made it a day, though. I got myself some movie popcorn from the store and got myself a bottle of rum, and I watched The Great Dictator.
Why am I so blurry all of a sudden? That's weird.
Focus!
Yeah, it's not. Stop the cam.
Did you know Ivana Trump died?
What?
No, I didn't hear about that.
What?
Yeah. Ivana
Wow.
Trump, she died today, I guess. I told John, he said, well, wrong Trump, but yeah,
Yeah, really.
still.
Holy crap. She did.
How?
Old
She
age.
was old, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
73?
old enough. I guess. I wonder if DJ TJ is going to go on a little binge tonight then. Those and his mama. Not that either of his parents actually loved him, but whatever. Not that I want to talk on that area.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. That
Cardiac arrest. That's what she died from.
he's busy fighting with Elon Musk right now, isn't he? Didn't Trump and Elon have a breakup or something here recently?
I'm not sure, but my old man's just called. He's getting off work. Our schedules have changed, so I got to go and deal with this. But I love you. Happy birthday.
You
All
too.
All right. See you guys.
Hi. Yeah, I thought I read somewhere that Elon Musk and Donald Trump had a falling out recently.
Yeah,
That's,
'cause,
I heard
like,
something about that.
he had said that Elon had voted for him, and Elon was like, no, I didn't. And Trump saw that as a, and he said it on social media, so Trump saw that as a, you know,
It's a
hurt his
personal
feelings.
insult.
So then they started tossing barbs at each other. Trump talking about how all the times when he was president, he helped him out with subsidies and bullshit. This failing business. It's like, well, why are you throwing money at a failing business then? That just makes you look like an idiot. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Is why are we okay with subsidizing businesses but not subsidizing people? Let's subsidize the workforce and not.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Sorry.
And then the businesses will follow.
Yeah, the workforce will have to spend money, so
Yeah. Instead of subsidizing failing businesses and keeping industries afloat that are archaic and need to die, how about subsidizing the worker and the farmer so that they can manage to get by and keep the wheels of our economy turning? Thank you, Nathan. Or Nathaniel. I always call him Nathan. I don't think he likes being called Nathan. I think he prefers Nathaniel, so it does sound more dignified.
I don't know, at this point I'm in favor of a UBI.
Yeah. Do you think Donald even cares that she passed away?
I think he's probably pleased.
He did post something and say how much she was loved, not by him necessarily, but he said loved by others and beloved by the kids. People are saying it was cold. I actually don't think it was that bad.
Yeah,
it wasn't. The fact that he didn't bring up the stolen, the fact that he didn't bring up the stolen election in it is, I mean, honestly, I really expected him to, but
he didn't talk about himself.
He just said, she was loved by many and she had great kids, and that was about it. It wasn't very, it's insane that he didn't actually make it all about him. So
yeah, I didn't even know she died. So she's the mother of Don Jr., Eric, and
all three of the three oldest, Don, Ivanka, and Eric.
Okay, who's what? And there's Tiffany too, right? She's a different.
I don't.
Mother?
Yeah, I think Tiffany has a different mother.
Okay. Well, I just wasn't sure. Okay, that makes sense. My forehead looks all shiny. Yeah, make this all about Trump. I had a interaction with Jill earlier. Jesus is Lord, and he wouldn't talk to me because he says he doesn't talk to men dressed up as women, which is unfortunate that he had to cop out to actually come in and speaking with me about the Big Bang when he wanted to pop in while I was gone and challenge me about it. And I came back in and I was on camera and he didn't want to talk anymore. And he wanted to actually what the conversation was shifting to was gender stuff. Of course it did, and I can't pop it anywhere without shifting to gender stuff. Okay. Yeah, Tiffany belongs to Marlon Naples. That makes sense.
It's almost worth it if she'll never talk to you again.
I don't know. I don't know. He wouldn't even stay in there and engage with me about it. I'm gonna run into that problem with having debate partners and debate interlocutors in general. I think I mainly focus. I want to focus on science denialism and Christianity, which is a big problem in the U.S. So that's my main focus. But those people are also transphobic and don't want to talk to me if they. I mean, I can go. Obviously, I can go off camera and be like engaging them like this, but that's to me that's like shoving myself back in a closet. Fuck you. Look at me. I'm pretty. That's how I feel about it. And if it makes you
What?
uncomfortable, that's a you problem.
What, is worried he's gonna start growing boobs from talking to you?
I don't know. Yeah, because that's what he said to me. He's like, "Are you a man or a woman?" It's like, I'm a woman. What do I have to do? Do this to help you understand? Is that better? Now you get it. But nope. Oh, did we lose Cupcake?
No,
No. Okay.
for some reason my camera turned on, which isn't set up.
Oh, there you go. If it just dropped you. Why put yourself through that? Because I like to talk about science and stuff. I'm actually getting a lot better about talking about the gender and sex stuff too. I think I laid down a pretty good response after he left. I mean, he obviously didn't want to engage with me, but they kind of gave me the floor to make my case after that. So yeah, no, it's engaging with a apologist and younger creationist is enjoyable for me. I don't really put too much stock in like what they say about gender issues and stuff because they don't even understand how physics work. They don't understand how we know the age of the universe and things like that. I can't expect them to understand something as complicated as uh, gender science and why it is science. They're looking in the wrong place if they want to try to understand it. You don't need to be looking down people's pants. It's not where you understand gender. It's looking inside someone's brain. But they don't have time for that, and they don't understand it, and they're angry about it because it's different than what they were taught in school. Because if you went to school before like 2005 or so, you were never there was never any concept of gender being separate from sex, and you have to seek out that kind of knowledge secondarily if you didn't get it in school. No one's going to teach you that. That does not mean that you get to say it's not real. There's no science that we may make advances in, especially not medical science, that we make advances in, and then people are like, "Nah, I like the way it was 20 years ago. Let's go back to treating these conditions."
Wait. Christianity has been doing that for its entire history.
Oh well, yeah, for sure. Just the trans issue is just the new kid on the block. It's just the latest to be laid down, right? Yeah, it's not a new action. I mean, we had through the 80s and early 90s, we had the homosexuality in general was treated the way that trans people are being treated right now. And
Damn it, we've been treating this fever with leeches, and that's how I like it.
Right, exactly. That's the problem, is that they want to stick with what we knew about that shit 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Science doesn't work that way. Medicine doesn't work that way. We've identified that there's a difference between gender and sex scientifically. You can look at someone's brain, the way that their brain reacts to certain stimulations, and see where they fall on the respective gender spectrum to other people who are identifying.
There's quite a bit it is quite interesting. From my understanding, we don't have full knowledge of what's going on exactly, but
Right.
we're getting there.
New. Yeah, it's a new development, and people are just starting to understand. And then, of course, there's things like intersex people, and chimeras, and things like that. And I laid that challenge down. I've never had my chromosomes tested. I don't know if I'm a chimera. I don't know if I'm intersex. I don't. Unless you've went in and had those labs done, you won't have that information about yourself. What you do is you're inferring your gender based on how you feel, and that's where you're deciding that. So it's me saying I'm a woman is no different than most any guy who hasn't had his genes tested saying he's a man. Hey, Jenny.
Hi, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Boy, you're getting old.
I know, right? I can see it in the lines on my face. Especially my forehead. Ugh.
Life's tough.
My big old forehead just keeps growing too.
And hi, Mama, and Cece, and Mage.
Hey.
And everybody's here.
Yeah. Hi, welcome to
What are we talking about?
Yep, I was talking about gender. I was saying because there was for a long time, for about the last year or so, I've been kind of avoiding engaging with people about, especially with people who don't accept gender, what they call it, gender theory or whatever. It's not really a theory; it's a science. But I've been avoiding having those conversations because of my own dysphoria. But here lately, I've kind of tried to stand up, and I've done the research. I've pulled the peer reviewed papers. I've read the research. I've read the rebuttals to the research. So I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready. So come at me. Um, it's been a long, hard road, but I think that giving myself something to fight against is going to give me that will to keep moving and keep pushing forward.
Uh-huh.
That's fingers crossed, of course.
Well, I don't know if anybody's got a real answer. You know, reading all the papers and stuff it's good. You absolutely need to have the info and all that stuff. But I don't think the papers know what they're talking about either. Nobody is.
Yeah, well, it's
and we just don't really know how it all works. We know what we know is correct, but we don't know what we don't know.
so yeah, and I agree with that. It's a science in its infancy. This is like when they were learning about ADHD back in the early 90s and doing all this titration with all these kids, and everybody was freaking out about it. Because you got to titrate any kind of new drug class, any kind of new treatment options. And I know this is more than just one drug class. There's going to be a whole spectrum of medical codes that we're going to have to invent and create whole cloth, for transgender people now that it's becoming medically acceptable. That this is just a normal state of human being, just a variation of our expressions. I hadn't heard of this syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, but
Klinefelter?
yeah, it's interesting. That's exactly my point too. You don't Klinefelter. Oh, he had auto corrected. Yeah, he fixed it. But I wasn't familiar with it, and that's just proof right there that none of us know for sure unless you've been tested. Mark's been tested. Guess what? XXY. A little bit different, right?
When I first started learning about this, Klinefelter's was like one of three different status of intersex that they listed in the books that I was reading, and now there's a whole raft of different differential diagnoses. It really has expanded its knowledge.
Yeah, and that was one. In the one of the things I'm most familiar with are like chimeras and stuff, and looking into that, and the way that hormones affect development. It's been really quite an adventure.
Yeah,
but there's so much more.
Don't get obsessed with genetic issues. The likelihood that you are intersex is very small.
Right, that anybody's intersex is very small. But
if it is, well, then you got that to deal with. But if it isn't, well, then you're just like anyone else, and that's perfectly fine, because what any of us are, or the vast majority of people, or trans people who aren't intersexed, it has other biological bases, but we don't understand it all yet. So we are what we are.
Yeah. And that's sex too. Sex is different from gender. It's a whole different spectrum that we're looking at. So focusing on intersex when talking about gender is also kind of a red herring of the conversation. But folks want to make it about your sexual biology when gender is a different spectrum, and it's a different different research that goes into understanding what gender is and how it's biologically applicable and how it does relate to your sex, sure, but it's not the same thing.
Well, your gender has biological components to it. It's not purely social construct. Mm-hmm. It's a biological construct as well. And
you can help people.
And it's the interaction of the two that create what the given individual is. And where does that biological nature of gender come from? Well, it comes from whatever your genetics say. So whether your genetics say XX or XY, if it still creates a biological gender portion of the head that is, shall we say, in opposition. I don't want to give it value of good or bad, but in opposition to what people would expect you to be based on some inspection when you were born, so be it. That's the way it is, and which tells me that XX and XY have even less to do with who we are in the end than they did 50 years ago.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit earlier about the gender is biological. It's not like a social, just purely a social thing. There's biology to it, and you can hook someone up to you can check your brain waves, the way you respond, your brain and the chemistry inside your head responds to different stimulation, and you stick your pin in the gender spectrum where it doesn't necessarily line up to your biological sex. So there is biology there that does say that trans is a scientific category.
When Dr. Ben is off of Army duty, he would definitely be good for someone for you to talk to.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Ben and I have we did a couple of streams together about gender stuff, but it's been a while ago. But we've talked a few times about some different things. I just want to say, hey Peter, welcome to the side chat there. Happy to see you. I was just talking about you a little bit ago too. Peter's saying hi to our cupcake friend. Let's see. Sex and gender have never been the same. They're vastly different across cultures, and over time, conflating the two is a poor excuse to marginalize and harm trans people. I agree, Maya. Yeah. And there's still cultures where the genders don't the genders don't match up. Western culture we've wiped out a lot of the different ways that societies would handle the gender situation and the gender spectrum, but because we've enforced Western society based on like the biblical two kind bull crap. So not a lot of those cultures or the evidence those cultures survive, but there is a lot to show that there's a wide variety, a plethora of different ways that societies handled gender in the past. What was I saying here? I'm kind of stoned. Sorry. I have an identical twin. I have an identical twin who's cis het. We have the exact same. I mean, you could check our DNA and we should be the same, but because we came from the same egg, we're not just two eggs that got fertilized. When identical twins, we split off from a single egg. So
Mark, there's also anecdotal stories out there of two twins who were separated at birth, who came together in their later age and found that both were trans. And both picked the same name and all kinds of different things that just kind of went, wow, how much more similar could it be?
From my understanding of that has to do more with epigenetics, where it's the same genes, but the switches are different.
Yeah, the switches are triggered during development instead of stuff that's already preloaded, right? It's during your epigenetics is basically, so you're born with a suite of traits, right? And epigenetics is when you develop. There may be different environmental factors even within the womb, but more so as you grow and change. Switches that are basically flipped in your genes to cause you to develop certain traits.
Same genes doing different things, basically.
Right. So if there could be epigenetic development that differentiates between me and my identical twin brother, even though we're split from the same egg, due to our way we developed.
How I like to visualize and get amateurs to understand it. And when I say amateurs, I mean lay people, cis het people. Is that the XX, the XY are like an outline for a book. Okay, and on the top of the thing you got XX or XY, and then you have part 1 and subparagraph A, section 1, and it keeps going down in a chain that is, each part is dependent on the one before, and at some point it branches off, and one person will go one direction, another person will go a different direction. That may be from epigenetics, but it also may be from biology. But whichever, that interaction of the two, you have a different result.
People underestimate how much environment can affect your biology too. That's another issue, that the way you developed and who you became may have been different in a different environment, because your body does react. Hormones do react to the things that you're around, and your development and is directly affected by that in one way or the other.
Oh, and it's not
Yes,
not just sex. There's epigenetic studies where it shows a person was exposed to this or that sort of issue, trauma, chemical event, treatment, whatever, and their child is fine, and their grandchild shows symptoms. Okay, so it's really way deeper than we know. Way deeper than we know. Epigenetics.
I was actually part of the Missouri twin studies. Yeah, that was something I participated in as a child. Cupcake has to bounce and go to bed. She's on UK time, so they are going to be crashing out. Thank you so much for coming in, Cupcake.
No problem. I hope you have a good day.
Who's leaving?
Cupcake has to go to bed.
Oh, someone I don't know.
Yes, you do.
You do know Cupcake.
Oh, duh.
Critical Cupcake.
Yes, I do.
I've never met Jenny. I've never been on a stream with her before.
No, I'm just not used to the new name. I was never officially informed about it. I'm really only realizing in the last day or two that it's changed. So forgive me. Go to bed.
I'll talk to you later. Nice.
So yeah, if my cousins were fraternal twins, and I have another cousin that were a set of female twins, so we had the whole every kind of twin you could have in my family growing up. It was kind of cool. We were all about the same age too, within 3 years of each other. But yeah, I participated in the twin study. I don't know. They haven't done any follow-up since then. I don't know if it was the Minnesota twin study or the Missouri one. One of them got a lot of their research was proven to be problematic and didn't really hold water once put under scrutiny. So some twin studies are better than others. Yeah, there's a Cupcake dropped the link before they left, Paul, so you can come in. There's the link right there. And what are frogs a great example of? Did I miss something? I don't know. Let's see. HiveScience. I had no idea you had an identical twin. Was that the first time you've said that on stream? Nothing wrong either way. I'd just like to know I'm not missing things. I've said I have a twin a few times. I've mentioned him. I've actually, depending on what social media you follow me on, I've shared pictures of us together and stuff. But yeah, he's very. My twin brother it's his birthday too today, so I need to say happy birthday to him when I get a chance. But he's pretty masculine overall compared to me.
It's his birthday too. That must mean you're related.
Yeah, right. if we have the same birthday, then how are we? But nope, but you're not missing things. I don't make it a big point to talk about it. I've shared my birthday with him for all my life, and thought that it sucked because my parents had to split the money that they would spend on just me between me and my brother because we had the same birthday. But at least I didn't have a Christmas birthday. Having a Christmas birthday would suck.
Who's older?
He's older. I'm the baby in my family. I am the baby.
By more than or less than 30 seconds?
More. Oh, about frog. If they're talking about frogs changing their sexes, fish change their sexes too.
Yeah, there's a number of species that will do that.
It's because with amphibians, their skin is really subject to absorbing chemicals from the this environment that can cause hormonal reactions to make them develop.
So basically, Alex Jones got it wrong. They're not turning the frogs gay; they're turning the frogs trans, huh?
Right, that's right. They're
No, not actually trans, but you know what I mean.
they're trans polypan frogs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is the change permanent? Can they change back?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think you can reverse it once they develop that way. Feel if anybody has any alternative reading on that, please share it. But I did not. I did not read that in the report that there was any way to reverse the changes on the stuff I read. Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good. I don't know if the connection will be good because I've had to nip out to the shed because the wife's upstairs in bed, and if I get talking in the kitchen, she's above the kitchen and she'll hear me. So yeah, I've got out the bath now. I always end up in the bath whenever I'm watching YouTube. I'm always in the bath when I'm chatting to people. I used to do it on Drunk Shop's stream all the time. Just about every single time it went live, I was in the bath. It was like one of the things that everyone used to comment, oh, Paul will be in the bath. And sure enough, I was. But anyway, happy birthday, Brie.
Yeah.
Hope you have a great day. And if I can just have my little input into the conversation you've just been having about gender and sex. Now, I'm not an expert on this, but the easiest way I found to understand it, I was watching a program, it was a good few years ago now, and it was talking about transgender and how it comes about. And basically, the best way to understand it is that when the egg gets fertilized, basically we all start out as XX. We're basically all female at the beginning. I mean, one of the traits from that is blokes have nipples. What's that about? It's all to do with the early development. So we all start out as XX. And in the first few weeks of gestation, you either stay XX, which will obviously be female, or you'll start to change, and you'll end up being XY, which is male. And what happens is during that development stage, sometimes it stops. It just doesn't fully develop. So then you end up with I can't say the word properly, but hermaphrodites, where basically you end up with both genitalia. And what's happened there is it hasn't finished the full change, and it's stopped for some reason, so you end up with both genitalia. If it goes through the full change, so you end up being basically you go to male, the last thing to change is your brain. And sometimes, for some reason, it gets to that stage and it stops and it doesn't change the brain. So you still end up with a female. You end up with a female brain, but you're trapped in a male body. Or it can be the other way around, whereas no change happens, so it's female. And then for some reason, at the stage where it would change, if everything else had happened, that switch goes on and you end up with a female brain. So you end up with a female body, and you end up with a male brain. So that's how you end up with both ways. And to me, that makes perfect sense. Once you understand that, transgender is nothing. It's just the way that it's developed in the world, and why people have got such a thing about it. I just can't understand it. I mean, I think it's brilliant that you've come out as you have done, Brie, and I feel so sorry that you've had to wait for this length of time before you felt comfortable in doing it. And you should be comfortable in your own body. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with any of them. So why are people so up on it? I would rather Brie be honest of who she is, and this is clearly who Brie is, than for Brie to have to lie to me and lie to herself and everybody else, and we'll never know Brie. We'll never know her. But now we do. To me, that's brilliant. And everybody should get to understand. It should be taught in school so that people understand exactly what's going on. I know I'm ranting on that, I always do. But yeah, to me, that's the easiest way to understand it, is how the fetus develops, how sometimes it goes all the way, sometimes it stops, the brain doesn't develop, or the body doesn't develop and the brain does, and then we all understand, and it isn't a problem.
Yeah, I remember looking at a study on brains. It wasn't really, they didn't really focus on trans people, but they're looking at it. There's a lot of, while there were certain traits that were more female, more male, there was a lot of overlap. So that would suggest that there's a more of a spectrum going on, even among cis people.
In fact, yeah, just a quick one. That's just reminded me. On the program that I was watching, they had a doctor on there who could do. He could look, basically bring people's brains up, look at a computer just by looking at the brain rhythms or whatever it does, the spectrum on the computer. He could tell by looking at that whether it was a male brain or a female brain. So it was basically a blind study. They put him into a room where he had the computer screen, but he couldn't see who was on the other side of the screen. They connected the brains up. And people that were identified as male or female, when he was looking at the screen, he'd go, yeah, that's a male, that's a female, that's a male, that's a female. And he was bang on right. And then they started putting people in that were saying they were basically transgender. They felt like they were they were in the wrong body. And when they put them in, what they claimed their gender was what came on the computer screen. So that was absolute scientific proof that it isn't a choice.
I'd like to see that study.
It's literally
I'm sorry. I have to take huge exception to all of this. This entire line of discussion is way off of biology truth. I'm sorry, but it's just not. It's just not correct. It's incorrect information.
What that is?
We don't start off as XX and turn into XY.
That's true.
The fertilization of the zygote creates the XX or the XY scenario. Okay.
Right.
And the development takes a different path, but one does not come from another. What you can look at in terms of the development is that all of our fetus, our initial fetus is all the same. Okay, that we all have the same physical structures. Whether you want to call it male or female, I don't care. I don't think it should be called female though, because it's not really female, because the female has to develop as well. It's kind of a neutral thing. Let me finish. It's kind of a neutral thing. As it develops, certain organisms within this body, down in that crotch, differentiate based on XX or XY. It's the same tissue in each fetus, but one differentiates one direction, the other differentiates the other direction, and that's because of the genetics. Okay, one does not come from the other. Okay, they're on a mutual path, and the path splits. Okay.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I like to say I'm not an expert on this. I can only go by what the doctor said. And in fact, I was only watching one the other day, and I've forgotten what his name is. An English doctor, and he does a lot of stuff on TV. I can't remember what his name is. Anyway, he was talking about this the other day. Am I still on? Because I've got a bad connection. Am I still on?
If there was some guy who could do this parlor trick, and it was legitimate clinical medical information, we would all be aware of it. Okay, this sounds like a lot of wishful thinking on the part of somebody.
Yeah, well, but basically, what he was saying was basically if nothing happens, we'd all end up being female, but because something changes, you end up being XY comes in. We all start off as this is what he said.
At best, what you can describe is that the path to female to XX is very plain and simple, and just shoots down this slide. But if it's going to be an XY creature, it has to do all these additive changes, all these additive redesigns of the tissue and the placements and all this other thing. And so there's more chance for error in the XY than there is in the XX. Okay?
Yeah, which I suppose goes along what he was saying then. Basically what he was saying is if nothing happened, we'd end up being female. Is that correct?
Yeah,
exactly.
You could say that, yes.
Yeah, so I suppose he was just sort of like simplifying it for people like me who've got no understanding of this.
Well, I'm trying to find the study where you're talking about where we'll be able to look at just the brains. The only thing I've been able to find so far is sex differences in insular neocortex, GIRA responses is to a brief static hand grip challenge. And apparently there is a difference between females who were doing this with showed higher resting HR than males, but smaller percent HR change increases to the challenges. So apparently they were able to look at that people doing this challenge through an MRI and saw differences in the brain in the way they were acting.
I believe that, but there is nobody who can stand in front of an autopsied brain and say, "Oh yes, look at this structure. This is a male. Look at that structure. This is."
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in here about looking at anyone who is transgender, though.
Yeah.
I don't care if they're transgender or cishet. They can't look at this brain and say that's a male brain, that's a female brain.
I just linked the study about visual responses. Yeah,
Sorry,
it's about what they're talking about. Can you hear me? Am I breaking up?
No,
Okay.
people are on top.
Yeah, it's in the chat there. I don't know. I haven't read the study enough to say, but I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think this is looking like at an autopsied individual's brain. I think that it's more about looking at the way that the brain chemistry and electrical responses in the brain react to stimulation is more of the situation that we're talking about. So the way
that makes sense.
Trans person's brain reacts chemically.
It wasn't looking at a brain, it was looking at the waves that the brain gives out on a computer screen once your brain's connected to the computer. That's what it was.
That basically the programming that you're running, not the hardware, but the software. You're basically, it's like saying you're running female software in your brain.
Basically, how the brain's working.
Yes.
I mean, that's
it wasn't physically looking at a brain. No, it was looking at the brain waves on a computer screen with somebody on the other side connected to it. And this doctor he could look at it and go, "Yep, that's characteristics of a male brain. That's characteristics of a female." And then somebody who was transgender.
Characteristic is different than it is. Okay. Because
what I'm saying is he was right on every time. He was looking at it, and he was right every time. And when it comes to a transgender person who was a male body, say, but they claimed they had a female brain, on his computer screen, it backed up what that person was saying. They said, "I feel female."
I believe that's what you saw, but I don't believe the truth of that. Remember, there was a guy who got world press because he said that vaccines cause autism. And everybody believed it for a long time, and it made a whole bunch of problems for this world even today.
Yeah.
So
this one I cited has this one. The study I
citation to this, I do not accept the information.
The study I shared has 16 citations, though, Jenny.
I wasn't speaking of your information.
Okay. I thought, is this not the same study? It's the only one that came up with it, matches that criteria. Specific cerebral activation due to visual erotic stimuli in male to female transsexuals compared with male and female controls in fMRI study. That's what I was looking at, and that's
okay. Yeah, I can do that, but that's not talking about. That's talking about the result that they're finding in this gender or that gender. That's not talking about what it is in terms of the difference, the bio.
Oh.
Did we lose Jenny?
Yeah, we've lost her.
Okay.
It sounds like the study you're talking about is very similar to the one that I'd seen.
Yeah, and there's other papers that are cited in here. Similar articles.
I'm sorry, I touched the screen and it cut me off.
On your phone, I did that like 3 times this morning.
What I'm trying to say, and I appreciate nobody walk on me to finish this, is that study that you're talking about is talking about if we sit people down in a room and give them this stimulus, this is their response, and that's fine. But that is not determining what makes that response, and the structure of the brain is what makes that response. And so we need studies that can look at the biochemistry of the brain and the physical construction of the brain, the nerve pathways of the brain, and see what the differences is between male and female, if indeed there is any. In some of the studies that they've done, there is believed to be a physical difference between a male and a female brain in certain portions of the structures within the brain. And in other studies say, no, we don't think that's true. Okay, so it is an open-ended question right now. Nobody knows for sure, but they're leaning towards a biological basis. And that's the most accurate information I can give you up to date.
Yeah.
You're muted.
I'm muted. Sorry. Yeah, and that's what I was saying about the study that I'm looking for. It's the way the brain, they can show the way the brain reacts. That it's something biological is happening. But what causes that to happen? Yeah, we're still up in the air about that. What pushes the brain to react that way? Questionable. But we can determine that a trans person's brain will respond to stimulation.
We know it's doing this. We just don't know why it's doing this.
Right. Yeah. And it's a science in its infancy, but to say that that the science doesn't support that transgenderism is biological is ridiculous because of studies like the one I just shared. I know that it's a small sample size, but that's just one study. There's a lot of research being done now into this, but we don't have a robust history of studying this topic because it was always treated as an aberration, and attempts were made to mitigate it, basically conversion therapy, right?
Well, no, we haven't had the technology to understand it. We haven't had the ability of the machines like an MRI machine and a CAT scan machine that can look into such detail of the brain. And when you put it next to an autopsy and actual films and actual nerve pathway examinations that they can do now that they couldn't do 10, 20 years ago, the entire science is changing because of our technology. And it's been the technology that allows us to look at these things. Before, they were limited to what you guys were just discussing about, providing stimulus, seeing the response, but they can't find out why that response is the way it is. And that's what's going on now.
Yeah, they weren't claiming to know why. Basically, they were just doing a blind experiment where they'd have, like I said, a doctor who said he was one of the best at it. It was part of his job was to look at the way that brain waves work, and by looking at that on a computer, he could see that there was a difference between a male brain and a female brain, and just by looking at the screen without knowing who was connected to it, he could determine that that's a male brain or that's a female brain. And I mean, it was on TV, but what he was doing, he seemed to be accurate on everything that he did.
Yeah, I don't.
I volunteer.
See, now, the other thing to look at is us as transgender people and our desire to find. So many of us have a deep desire to find a biological explanation for our situation, because we believe somewhere in the back of our head that if this is caused biologically, if I was born this way, then you cannot put me down, you cannot destroy me socially, you have to accept me. And that's a bunch of crap, because just because it's biological doesn't mean I'll accept you. Fat is biological. We accept fat people. So.
And we take steps to alter our natural biological directions of our development all the time. It's you don't have to. It doesn't have to be natural for you to want that. People have been, just for example, getting their breast augmented for at least the last 70 years. No. But, and even
that's not what I'm saying. That we look for a biological basis to absolve ourselves of responsibility that this is some kinky weirdness that we have, because that's what society has told us we are, and we want to break that. And so I think it's a natural response that we're looking for something that's biological, so that we are not blamed and given guilt and all the onus of the whole thing, like society does. We were born this way, and they know that not because of the biological features that they have found and discovered in the nerve pathways and all these things, but it's because when you take a transgender person and you do your best to absolutely break their transgenderism and turn them into a cishet person, it doesn't fucking work. It never has. and it never will because it never has. And that's how we know it's something that you're born with, because it's absolutely impenetrable.
Yeah.
It's like go up to the cishet person and say, when did you decide to be heterosexual? Well, they can't tell you because they were born that way. Just like we can't tell you because we were born this way.
Let's see, Kaden says, I think it's socially directed anyway. If there's no social separation between traditional gender, there would be no need to be trans. You would just be, period. Yeah, that in a perfect world, we could just be. No one would say, hey, you're not expressing your gender in the way that I expect you to, and getting all been out of shape about it. Because that's mostly what other people are, at least that's been my experiences, that they have an expectation of the way that I'm supposed to express myself and present myself to the world, that and I don't fit that, and it makes them mad for some reason. Let's get over it, bro, because it's my life. But that's mainly what I get pushed back against. But what I'm saying is that we do want to continue scientific research into this, and it's we have to continue these studies. We have to continue doing this research and looking for that, not because trans people need some kind of get out of jail free card for the cultural guilt that that's been applied to them, but just because we need to understand these human conditions in general to be able to better accommodate the medical needs of a portion of the population, even if they are marginalized.
Well, I'm betting there's going to be, with any breakthroughs on this front, there's probably going to be broader application for everybody. I wouldn't know what might be, but I mean, this is kind of a gut feeling on my part. So take that with a grain of salt.
Well, I mean, but I guess what I'm saying is, if there are medical conditions of being trans that we can anticipate that have a biological factor to them, that we've been doing these studies will help us identify what portion of the population may need to have these tests at this certain age, or if you've been transitioning for this long, you may need to change the way you're doing this when you reach this age. Different things like that are going to come into play. So we need to keep continuing these gender studies, I guess, is the best thing to call them. To say an old analogy was, if a firefighter lost a leg and it was replaced with prosthesis, is he less human? Yeah, right. I get that. And again, we like I was saying when I was on Wild Hearts earlier, everything that we express as far as what is considered our secondary sexual characteristics are all triggered by hormones. So you say, oh, I'm only attracted to women. You're attracted to people who have developed with a suite of traits that are expressed and considered womanhood by our society, not necessarily traits that are exclusive to that sex, because there's a lot of overlap there in general, and you can alter that. And if you want to say, oh yeah, but that's artificial, we artificially alter the hormonal development of something like 30% is what the last study that I was reading on that with the CDC, are on some sort of treatment that alters their hormonal levels and the hormonal development. I hope one day that trans people will be accepted as left-handed people when we stop questioning why people decided to be who they are and just accept that they are who they are. Did any of you all old enough to remember that when they used to try to make everybody be right-handed?
Exactly. I was just going to say that, Maya, that is an excellent example, because for a long time, left-handed people were considered evil, satanic demons, and they forced everybody to be right-handed. And finally, they said, give that up. And now there's a bunch of left-handed people. Did promiscuity cause that? No, people are born left-handed. It's just ridiculous what people think.
Because so many of our presidents have been left-handed. It's like a disproportionate amount of people who have been president of the United States were left-handed. I just thought that was a weird statistic.
Well, there are some people. there used to be this myth that that came out within the 70s that that one side of the brain is analytical, the other side of the brain is artistic. Well, that's bullshit. But it does seem that people who are left-handed have a certain flair to themselves artistically, creatively, that right-handed people don't. But it's purely anecdotal. It's purely anecdotal. But it is something spooky to think about.
Agreed. Yeah, it's to think about the way that brains develop in general, and what, again, we were talking about epigenetics earlier. What environmental factors could cause your brain to go this way or that way? In matters like that too, analytical versus artistic and such.
Mm-hmm. One of the biggest problems that I think we also have when we start to talk about this trans issue in terms of the biology and genetics and stuff is we're beginning to dance on the porch of the house of eugenics, and not that we are the eugenicists, but that we're creating fodder for them to come after. Okay, and with this fascist regime that is developing in our country, it is really starting to lean towards a eugenicist type of bent, just like it did prior to World War II, which is where the Nazis learned all their eugenicist philosophies, was from America. And those philosophies and stuff haven't died; they just went underground. And I think we're heading for that, being above ground and making laws based on it again. So, watch out, folks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're at it's like a freaking battlefield right now, right? Just fighting for basic human rights anymore, but it feels like we're forever losing. I feel like it's uphill the whole way, and no breaks along the path. So I hope that there are. As Katie Montgomery released a video a couple of days ago about that there's not going to be some triumphant victory for trans people over the TERF movement or the gender critical movement. There's this not going to be some overwhelming victory where all the TERFs get shut down. It's going to just slowly fade out like homophobia did. Not to say that homophobia is gone now, but now it's more socially unacceptable to be a homophobe than it is socially unacceptable to be homosexual.
Well, that's turning around too.
Mm-hmm. You think that's turning around too?
Absolutely, homophobia is coming back with a vengeance.
Do you think that's just in like the U.S. or do you think that's globally?
I don't think mainstream media is addressing it. I think we can see it in the kind of shit that comes down on Twitter and other social media. Social media is not the culture, but it is certainly an influential part of the culture, and it spreads. Twitter is real hooked up with insane cable news outlets or media outlets, and again, we give them fodder for coming after us. Just by our own existence.
Well, they try to make it like you were talking about earlier, as some kind of perversion or kink or something that people have. It's not just a sexual thing for, I don't know, man, I can't speak for everybody. For me, it's not. It's like I feel more comfortable, lazing around the house as a woman, in presenting as a woman and living my life as a woman. It's not. I'm not just, into, for adult reasons. I want society to accept me, and is that. I'm rambling now. Sorry.
No, you're exactly right, and I think it's probably likely that a majority of us think that same way. The opposition is trying to create a situation where they can feed out bullshit and create fear and panic and get people to hate us and want to do whatever they say they should do to us. They want it to happen, and they bring up these things like, that these trans people, they're just their big one is autogynephilia, which they made the word up and defined it as people getting turned on by the clothing, that each piece of clothing has some sexual connotation to them, and they visualize a trans person masturbating every time they put on a different pair of pants or something, and because it excites them so, and it's just like so far from the truth.
That is what is that? The autogynophobia. Let me break that down. Auto, so that means yourself. Gyno is a woman. Did you say phobia or philia?
Well, the name of the term is autogynephilia.
Okay, so in love with yourself as a woman. Okay, so they think that like you dress up like a woman and get off to yourself as a woman. Oh, gross! I don't get off to me.
Yeah, it's just what?
Yeah, I look at myself and see. I think what I see in the mirror is probably a lot uglier than what most people see when they look at me. I see it. I look at my manly features and just hate them. So I don't think
that's usually the case.
I don't think I'm in love with myself as a woman.
I'm just bothered that I never got the memo when I lost all those years when I could have been beaten off and having a good time,
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, Bree, time's getting on here. It's just coming up to 20 to 11. So it's time I shut off. So
I love that you popped in to say happy birthday to me, Paul. We need to hang out more and make time for that at some point. So
we'll have to do one of them. We'll have to do one of them streams again, debunking something. You'll have to get something organised, and we'll have to have a look at debunking something. I quite enjoyed that last time with the UFOs and what have you.
Yeah. Fun time. Yes, we should. We should definitely do that.
I hope I wasn't too hard on you, Paul.
No, I mean, I was just repeating what I'd watched on the TV. I mean, like I said at the beginning, I'm no expert on this. I can only go by what information I'm given, and that was the information that I was given, which to me made it more understandable of the whole situation.
Looks like Crafty's over in your neck of the woods too, so it's probably late there. Good night, Crafty.
Good night, Crafty. I haven't seen you in a long time. Bye-bye.
Well, I have. It's been a while since I've been able to hang out with Crafty too, but apparently she just had a C-section, so not in the best state.
Take it easy.
I'll jump out. I'll catch you all later.
Okay, bye-bye, Paul.
See you later. Ta-da. Have a good one.
Bye, Paul. You too. And then number 4. So that was I don't mind the little bit of friction that we had there about these studies and what they mean to trans people. And I do think that there's probably going to be some biological factor that's discovered that is the source of transgenderism. I don't think there's going to be one thing. I think it's going to be a suite of biological and environmental factors. But I do think that, and I do. That's just my opinion. I don't think that's been established yet, other than that we can see the results, like that study I showed of how the brain reacts to things. But the source of that we haven't sorted out yet. I do await that, just because I think that that's something we need to know for our culture to be able to keep moving forward.
I think there is definitely a legitimate question that tends to point at the similarities versus differences between ourselves and cross-dressers. And drag queens are not in that group.
Right, to differentiate the psychological differences, social differences.
The social definition of the cross-dresser is typically a man, by a long shot, 99%, likes to dress up in women's clothing and pass as a woman, but they don't want to be a woman. And when they're done for the night, they take it off and they're themselves again. It's a way different scenario to the whole attitude. And I could understand where I've known lots of cross dressers, and I know that some of them get very excited about the clothes that they wear. And then you get the opposition who conflates us and them, because there's a lot of people who start out thinking they're transvestite or cross dressers, because it's just one of those things that you go through, because nobody wants to change their sex, but they're playing a game. But then they realize after dabbling in it after a while that no, this is not me, and they end up declaring as trans. And so there's that little bit of crossover, but it's not really a crossover. It's like a shift of somebody's realization of who they are. It's not like the disorders blend into each other.
So I've always I kind of on the fence about that, about drag queens, transvestites, and cross dressing and that sort of stuff. That's a sexual thing. It's a kink or fetish, or whatever you want to call it. I support that completely. I like kinky shit. I do. But drag queens are always, in drag shows, are always sort of a point of contention for my brain, because it's almost like trans blackface to me. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I understand what you're saying. I've known lots of drag queens, and they are entertainers. They really are just entertainers, and that they're very, very good at this angle of entertaining.
I love how good they are at makeup. I'd love some tips from them, but as far as their cultural position, and people, that's the thing too. People complain about, taking kids to drag shows, and there's drag shows and drag queens reading story time and stuff like that. That is cis het culture. That is not LGBTQ for the most part. That's not LGBTQ culture. That's cis het culture in their blackface version of the trans or the LGBT community. It's my opinion.
I know what point you're trying to make, but in today's society, with all the crap that we've been through in the last decade or so, I think calling it trans blackface is kind of harsh.
I'd have to agree. It's a bit harsh.
Trans blackface? No, not trans isn't blackface. I'm calling drag shows.
Yeah, well, I know, and that's kind of harsh. I think it's kind of harsh to say that. Okay. But I understand the point you're trying to make, that they're spoofing us, but they're not. They're not spoofing us. They're just something that from the outside looks like us in a way for the uneducated and unknowing, but it's not. They're entertainers, and they love to do this. They get paid to do this. They make a living doing this. And the rest of the time, they're just themselves, and nobody knows.
And I'm not blaming the drag queens themselves on the way that, because society doesn't differentiate them from us.
Right.
They don't say that this is a different group of people than these people. So when they do their shows and stuff, and especially when recently with the children involved at the show or whatever, that was presented as a case against transitioning and transgenderism. It was called grooming towards transgenderism, and that is not what it is. Those people are not there to represent the trans community. They are entertainers in drag culture. It's a mostly, again, a cis het piece of culture. So I don't blame the drag queens, because they're just doing their thing and entertaining. I get that. I blame the way I look at the way society just packages us together and says this is transgenderism, and that's not the case.
Kind of like how in the most early way of it being explained to me was somebody who's a drag queen is just somebody who's dressing as a woman or whatever, while somebody who's trans was actually he thinks they are. It's not a very good explanation, obviously, but.
Yeah, and I'm echoing what my friend Cadence is saying here in the side chat too. It's the way that the culture presents us, and there's an expectation for transgenderism, for trans women is anyway to be probably low body. Off camera there. There's an expectation for us to be performative too, to really play it up and lay it on thick like a drag queen. Socially,
Cadence, I understand what you're saying. There was a time where I was very upset with drag queens too, because they hit so close to home, and it always felt like they were about to that me just seeing them on TV was going to explode my secret to everybody in the room. Okay, in the days before I came out. And so I didn't like the whole concept of drags, and I never got to know any drag people and that sort of stuff. These days, I'm 180 degrees from that. I think drag queens are great. I think their shows are a gas and a half. The audience has an absolute blast and a half going to them, and they're just a real good time. I don't see anything. There's a lot of innuendo, but there's nothing sexual going on at a drag queen show. Just innuendo and out the other. It's
Yeah, it's just the way that our culture presents it, though. I get that it's a fun, and I like cabaret and stuff like that. It's all in good fun, and cis het people do it. There's again cabaret shows and those kind of things, and strip clubs. When we can't differentiate that from LGBT cultures when it becomes a problem. And I reiterate that drag queens, for the most part, are generally, like Jenny said, cis het men that just enjoy doing this as an entertainment. So they're not part of the LGBTQ. There are no doubt there are allies among them. I know that there was a drag queen that was for MAGA for a long time there, Miss MAGA, that was making appearances at like Trump rallies and stuff like that. So
really, I wasn't aware of that. That's funny.
Oh yeah, look her up. She's a tall one too. So, but Miss MAGA was her name. And can you believe that would even be accepted and as part of the culture, right? Of the conservative Americans.
Well, sure. The
Lady MAGA.
reason that the conservatives hate us is because they deep down love us,
Right.
and they can't show that.
They can on Grindr, but not in real life.
I mean, they're the ones with the secrets. We're out,
Yeah.
and they're jealous of us.
Yeah.
I think
That
there's a large number of our haters who are trans themselves, who just can't face it, and I think there's a large percentage of them who really get off on it and would be happy to date trans people that are in love with trans people, but they can't deal with their feelings, and so they decide to hate instead. I don't think all of them are pure hate. I think a lot of them have issues that they haven't resolved.
Oh, and apparently the Lady MAGA is actually gay too. So.
Well, Trump did said that he's 100% behind the gays. Anytime a politician puts "the" before a group of people, you know that they're full of shit. The blacks, the gays, the women. It's idiots. You are so fake.
What was that one time he was in the up on stage? Like, oh, there's my black guy.
Yeah. Absolutely no sensitivity to optics at all. It's just, how can these guys win? Because the people who are behind them are stupid to the point where they suck in all of this thing. They don't take the trouble to look beyond the first light of whatever myth that they've been taught. That it's easier for them to just accept the fact that somebody told them that drag queens are indoctrinating kids to be homosexual, and so all transvestites or transgender people are doing that too, and for them it's absolute truth. They've been told this, okay, because they're too lazy or stupid and lazy or just stupid or something, that they won't take the time to actually learn that.
Bye, Mark.
True.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, Mark. Bye-bye. Always good to see you.
Yeah. Blair White's still around. Blair White is trans. Blair White is definitely trans. I don't know if she she presents herself as a conservative. She does a lot of. She's like a trans Ben Shapiro or Candace Owen type.
she's not even half their intelligence, and they're not very smart. She's in it for the money, pure and simple. She's got an absolute killer body. She knows it. She's got boys that are whacking off to her every time she's on screen, and she's making a shitload of money off of it. It's all she's interested in, and she'll say whatever she has to say to get more clicks. She is not to be. You're not to be concerned about her, except for the fact that her message, unfortunately, gets passed around. So many people like her. Ugh.
I don't know. Was Trump okay with same-sex marriage? I don't remember him.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know what he said publicly, but I can't.
But no, none of our politicians, because again, this is all new stuff, and they all are from a previous generation. We elect geriatrics as our representation to lead our country, which means that they have the social ideologies of a generation 20 years in the grave, and want to push legislation that presents the ideologies of that generation, and things like same-sex marriage. While we did get that overturned in the 90s, our own president right now is, I mean, didn't Biden draft Don't Ask, Don't Tell? They're very so Biden is not an ally. At least he hasn't been in the past.
I'm gonna call you on that one too.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
We never give our politicians permission to change. Yes, Obama at one point was saying, no, don't tell, whatever the policy was, don't ask, don't tell, and he came around. Okay, now maybe he did it for political expediency, or maybe he said the bad things in the beginning because it wasn't how he felt, but it's what he had to say. And that's why we don't like politicians, because they say what they have to say, and it sounds like they hate us or something like that because of it. And many times they do, but a lot of times they don't. That they have to say these things or appear as though they're supporting this side or that side, so they can get the votes and get in power and blah 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 blah. But politicians, they change their mind. They learn more. They grow up.
Well, I mean, are they changing and growing up, or are we dragging them along, kicking and screaming again 10, 15 years behind us? So, I mean...
absolutely. Absolutely, they're way behind us.
It's because we need to change the way that the people that we put into office. We don't need to pick 70-year-old people. We need people in their 30s and 40s that... are seasoned enough to understand how the system works, but have more modern ideas about things like this. Is medical stuff we're talking about. When we're talking about trans stuff, we're not talking about social stuff. This is medical stuff, and we need to have legislation to help protect the medical rights of trans people, and to help, and not just trans people. This is going to extend to all groups of people, but yeah. I'm rambling again.
Maya, I love what you just said. I have an idiom I feed myself about that, and it goes like this: that conservatives are the people who stopped reading when their books ran out of pictures. At some point, as you grow up, books don't have pictures anymore, and they're the people who stopped reading when that happened.
Right. Picture books. Once the pages are full of words, don't waste your time with that. It's like we need to draw diagrams for them or something. It's like the atrophy.
Well, we also need to remember, as members of the community, and especially those of us who are in the front lines here, going online, yelling and screaming at the opposition, and trying to get other people to understand the truth of what we are and what we're doing and what we're trying to, how we get hurt and all these things. We are the avant-garde. We are the forward guard. We are so far ahead of the mainstream that everything they do is wrong to us. But lots of them grow from that and become our allies. And some of them are really lousy at being an ally because they're still growing into being an ally. But we attack them because they're not good enough at it yet. We have to remember we are the avant-garde, and we will always be further ahead in how we deal with this, how we accept each other, than the rest of culture, the world politic will be.
Right. They can only, I think it was here. Maya said the sitting president can only be so. Oh, here it is. The sitting president can only be so liberal without the majority turning on them. So politicians in more liberal no politician is more liberal publicly than their average constituent. Because people want someone to stand up for what they already have instead of what we are trying to reach. I do like that there's some back and forth going on about the how progressive our politicians have been and how progressive they should be. We don't have in the U.S. We don't have like left wing representation. We just have a right wing and centrist representation.
No, we left wing. It just, again, we are the avant-garde of the politics of the left wing of the progressive socialist nature of human beings. We are of them. The rest of them are as left as they can be right now.
Right, which is far. So on
But it doesn't matter what we think. They think that they are as left as they can be. Or
only in the U.S. though. Our political parties are all right wing compared to the rest of the planet. It's not just we're the extremists. We're the country that's backwards.
If you start taking all the liberal people that you think are really just right center, and you start telling them that, they're going to walk away from you so goddamn fast you won't believe it, and they will become right wing because
they're already right wing. To me, a liberal is not.
We can't define them on our terms any more than they can define us on their terms.
But it's not. But again, the spectrum on this is not arbitrary. Depending on what their position is what it's based on. So there is no, based on what it means to be left wing or right wing. There is no left wing in the U.S. We have our own American version of it. It's like we have our own American version of measuring distances and measuring weight stuff, but it doesn't match what the rest of the world has as a standard. This is like, you're like saying, oh, but look, on the English system, we have this standard where they're on the left wing. But yeah, on the metric system, no, they're not. They're way over on the right, and it's embarrassing that our country is so far right wing that we had to create our own standards so that we could pretend that our centrist liberal party, the Democrats, was on the left. We had to create our own little window to shift that. But there is actual standard for it, and the United States does not have a left wing.
No, there is not a standard for it, and the same that's going on here as goes on with the issue of transgender people. That let me put this together before I open my mouth here.
Well, while you're trying to think of that, I have to get going. So see everybody. Happy birthday again. I hope you have a good day.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for stopping in. So you don't think that there's a standard that we can base the political ideology of our representation on? That we can say that these ideas are left wing and these ideas are right wing, and make that standard?
The spectrum of left to right is fluid as fuck. It always has been. Right now, the whole thing is slid to the right. We know that. Okay? But that doesn't make those people any less leftist than they were when it was slid to the right.
As individual people, but as representatives, they are.
But you have to deal with them as individuals to get the whole to act as one. If you don't teach one person, if you can't teach that guy to fish, the rest of them are going to starve too. Okay,
so it's like what Batman said, that it doesn't matter who you are on the inside, it's what you do that makes a difference. So they can be as lefty as they want, they can support social policies and everything. If they're not representing that, then they might as well not be. They might as well not have that ideology
Look,
in their mind.
Okay, you talk to some conservative, and we've seen this many times when a reporter or even a comedian goes up to a Trump crowd and starts asking them questions that go way over their head. And you see them carrying signs like, keep the government off of my Medicare. They haven't taken the time to learn anything. Okay, and there's just as many people on the left who haven't taken the time to learn anything. Okay, and so they show up and dangle these beliefs that they have, that we see it and then go, oh my God, that's right wing. Well, teach them. Because when you teach them, they'll understand. And suddenly you're going to have a bunch of people dancing around Lenin and Marx and Che Guevara and voting left all the time. But we have to teach them. We can't stand around and say, oh, these people are really just right wing, and the parties are the same and all the time. The parties are not the same. Maybe they all suck up to corporate money, but one party is trying to kill me, the other one is not.
And there are some issues where I'm in agreement with some right-wing ideology, but not much. There are a few things that I could say, and where nobody fits right into a box on that. But there are certain issues, certain human rights issues that we need a progressive left-wing party to represent, and what we have is lacking. And I get that it's the best that we can expect in the U.S. because there's not going to get the votes, but as generations die back and new generations, these newer generations that we're raising now, come into voting ages.
For this period that we call the Biden administration to take this Senate Bill 1, which I call the LGBT rights bill, and pass it. But it's been sitting there in the Senate not moving. Okay, I cannot blame the entire Democratic Party for that, because it is Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema that have caused that to happen. If they would vote on a party line like the Republicans do all the time, because they've been drilled and taught how to do that over the last 30, 40 years, that this is the way you're going to take power, is walk in lockstep. If we had those two that were voting Democrat, regardless of how they personally felt about something, we would have had these things passed. We could have ended the filibuster. We could have grown the court to 13 people.
We would have never had a Trump presidency if those people would,
except for two people. But that's not the Democrats' fault. It's those two people's fault.
Yeah, we never would have had a Trump presidency if people would have not been like, well, I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton, even though because she's not left enough for me. There were those people, and you don't get to do that. That's not how this democratic republic works. Whether you like it or not, you have two options. You got to pick one. You don't get to just opt out. You don't just. I saw
this great meme is going around Twitter right now that it says voting is like being on a bus. The bus will go and it'll get you close to where you want to go, but it may not get you all the way to where you want to go. But you still better take it, because it's better to get close to where you want to go than to not get close to where you want to go.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. I push just on my channel for the most part. I push things left, so I won't accept the U.S. as a left wing. Just on its face value. I get that we have people who represent us as the left, or who are supposed to represent us as the left. I don't argue with you there, and that we should say, yes, this is our left wing representation, but they are not the policies that they espouse are not left wing. I didn't mean to make this whole stream political. Sorry.
We're having a good time. Respectful.
What?
Did I cut out?
Am I confused-icated? What am
I? We're all talking at once. Hello, Diana.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome aboard.
Oh my! Yay! All these birthdays all at once. Because let's see, yours is today, right, hon?
My birthday is today.
And Purple's is the 19th. Mine's the next day.
Yours is the 20th.
And who else do we have? There are a few more. I know there are.
If you think of it right off my head, obviously I have people in my own life who have the same birthday as me, other than my twin brother. I have.
When's his birthday?
Oh my, there's more where you came from. Oh God, we're in trouble.
No, he's
I'll be right back. I gotta go pee.
he's super masculine. It's cute, like how masculine he presents himself. Does the big beard and cowboy hats and the whole shebang. He's a good old boy too, bless him. But he's also a libertarian. So, speaking of political discussions, he's trying to get me into that too. And you know, I definitely don't want to make my birthday stream necessarily all about politics. I know people don't come
Yeah, I
here
get
and talk
that,
about
yeah.
politics. And we did start off talking about gender stuff, which is important. And
Yeah, I was definitely listening into that one with an ear to the screen.
yeah, it's nice to have these conversations. We need to be having these conversations, and we need to be again pushing our politicians to have these conversations. But I that's the only way we're going to make it through is if we convince our representation that we need progress in this area. Medical progress. Why is that such a what other field of medicine, what other field of healthcare do we say, you know what, we're stopping here, no more. We're stopping at what we knew 20 years ago. I don't care what new studies you come out with. I don't care what new research there is. We're stopping how things were in 2005, and we're not moving forward anymore. What other fucking field of medicine do we do that in? And sorry about my language.
And I'm frightened, to be honest, because not only do I see us stopping, I'm seeing us moving backward.
Yeah, that's what Jenny was saying, moving backwards. The boat's rocking, at least. I mean, the boat is rocking. Is it going to flip over? I don't know. But we are being, at least in some areas, and not just on gender stuff, we're being, there's states like Oklahoma, Julie, Tennessee, Texas, Alabama, Missouri's where I am right now. Missouri's terrible about women's rights. I mean, it's Missouri was the testing ground for overturning what Roe versus Wade. Missouri was the one using all the that would propose all their state legislation to try to stop abortion in its tracks, and that's where all this crap was tested out at.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got Oklahoma challenging separation of church and state when it comes to students. We got, of course, abortion is the big thing, overturning Roe versus Wade. But what was the other issue that's come up lately?
Well, we've got Miss Big Mouth over in Colorado going on about the I don't get this separation of church and state junk, as she called it.
What is she?
Say again.
What's not to get? It means separation of church and state. It's self-describing. It means that keep your church out of my politics because I don't want our laws based on your religious beliefs. I'm sorry, I don't. That's just.
I want to say this is stuff you learn in middle school, but she really didn't get much of an education now, did she?
Yeah, you're talking about what's her
Robert,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how she got in office. Her and Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz. I don't understand how this.
Yeah.
The
problem with the court right now is that we have a majority of justices who are taking the First Amendment and defining it in a somewhat different way than others have. There's a case of precedent where the argument was decided in favor of the plaintiff and stated that what they were doing was not a religious-based law just because it had features to the law that a religion also had. Okay? And that's the sneaky approach that they're taking with all this stuff right now, is that right wing had learned that lesson, and that's where all these trans bills are written that way. That they're not mentioning religion, they're not leaning that far, but they're certainly religiously based. But We can't prove it because they are wording them better than they used to.
That too.
Well, but you can't help but notice that the same messages that are being handed out to the populace by these right-wing politicians are also the same messages that you can hear in a extremist evangelical church like
Yes.
Greg Locke or Copeland or any of these people.
And what does your church say about theft?
Right. Oh, yeah, there you go.
What does your church say about murder? Okay. Now, is our no stealing law religiously based? Is our no murdering law religiously based?
Right. No, I get that. I get that. There'll be I'm sure people out there who will say yes, our laws in the U.S. are religiously based, but they're really not. They're based on. I mean, as far as that goes, the Code of Hammurabi could be also viewed as the basis to it, which is totally separate from religion. But I would say that the religious laws that the evangelicals are espousing have their roots in the laws of Hammurabi. So I don't think that their position is necessarily religiously based either, even though they think it is. I think it's just being humanistically based, despite the fact that they want to attach a fabricated entity to it.
Mm.
I'm being mean, though. I'm being mean to the conservatives by telling them that they're really.
No, you're not being mean. You're being them.
I don't mind being mean to conservatives.
Their entire political campaign for all of them, whether it's school board or the president, is all based on how mean I can be to marginalized groups. All of it is about how mean can we be. None of it is giving. None of it is caring. None of it is compassionate. None of it is empathetic. None of it is growing. None of it is forward looking. It is status quo and look how mean I can be.
It's about maintaining power too. Maintaining power over those people you want to be mean to. You got to keep that power because look what happened when women got their power. Now we have to deal with women in politics. We have to deal with women in the medical field. So they've seen what happens when they. Yeah, I'm sorry. What was that?
Women just lost all their power.
Right. I know.
And this whole Roe Wade thing could easily cascade into a point where the society would be starting to write constitutional amendments against women's freedom, constitutional amendments that support ownership of women as a spouse. And
I see that getting started already.
Kind of stuff. We are right on the edge of that. And it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. They have the power.
Right. Who can make that decision? Who can overturn that? Overturning Roe versus Wade didn't just affect abortion either. It's a human rights bill, is what it was.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And women have lost their rights.
To just and it's gonna snowball. You don't think it's gonna affect you, and it's gonna affect everybody. It's gonna affect everybody in your relationships and the people. It's gonna affect the people you care about. It's gonna respect the rights of your offspring, because of this religious group wanted to promote that fetuses are people and need to be protected.
Well, if you had your ear to the ground, you were hearing where Clarence Thomas wanted to go next. Yeah, because he talking about everything else he would like to see reviewed and overturned.
About the LGBTQ
laws, biracial marriage. Oh no, I won't do that one because I'm married to a white woman. Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't put it past Thomas to want to overturn Lovin.
What's the state that just got? I think I want to say it was Texas, but that seems too obvious. That it was illegal to have a interracial marriage until, was it 1973 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what state it was in, but it was a
I
state.
thought it was Alabama or Mississippi, one of the two.
Yeah.
Well, the Loving case was versus Virginia, if I remember
It
correctly.
was Virginia. Well, Virginia works as well as Alabama. There's still these conservative, what they call red states that are.
Yeah, Loving versus Virginia. Let's see what we've got. 67.
67. It was earlier than I thought. Then I honestly was basing it on I was listening to Aaron Ra talk at one point. And he was because his wife is of Asian descent, and he's saying how they wouldn't have been able to get married when he was a kid because I thought he said 73, but I guess it was earlier than that. But he wouldn't have been able to get married to his spouse if that was still the way it was. And just talking about how these basic human rights were denied to us just decades ago, and now they're now this major leap forward that we made has been in place for almost 40 years, right?
I mean, definitely within my lifetime, within Jenny's lifetime. I don't know about yours.
What are you asking? Repeat that bit, Bree.
Oh, I'm asking about interracial marriage, how long that's been in place, and Roe versus Wade being overturned is a step towards that being overturned. This is stuff that's been in place for decades.
Yeah,
for centuries.
Well, I was 16 when Roe v. Wade was decided.
Laws written as far back as the 1840s. Okay, where people started getting rights and things like that. This Roe versus Wade can cancel out all of that stuff. They use the clause that this bill does not go back far enough in our history to be significant enough to preserve. And so they're going to be able to look at anything like gay marriage and say, well, that's certainly not in our history back in the 1800s, 1700s. Okay, and boom, it's gone. Yeah,
it's kind of funny though, because that sure helps with their Second Amendment narratives, though, doesn't it? Really helps them out with saying, "Hey, this was in our I'm all blurry again. This wasn't our bills back in the 1700s, so we need to keep it just the way it is." If I figured out what's causing my camera to blur though. If I bump the table, it makes the camera focus mess up, and then I go all blurry. So let's see if it's fixed. There we go. Yeah, now I can come back on camera. It should be fixed. A little bit anyway. Still a little bit. Let's see. What do you say? What do you got to say, Gur? I'm not usually shocked by stupidity these days, but overturning Roe versus Wade did shock me. Right when you think society has progressed, though nowhere near as much as it should, the conservatives F it up again. It's and we can say it's the conservatives, but we need to pull the whole of society in more our direction. We need, like Jenny was saying earlier, to educate the liberals, the people that we are the vanguard too. We need to educate them and make sure that they understand the positions we're taking are not, again, with Roe versus Wade specifically, if we're talking about human rights, basic human rights, and people don't understand that. They see it as, hey, I'm helping save babies, and that's end all be all. Nothing else comes into play. It's just, I'm saving babies. Your position is that you want babies to be able to be killed. I win, and it's more complicated than that. It has a deeper nuance to it than that. That people aren't educated enough on. I don't know how else to put it. People don't understand the points, and all the best we can hope to do is to reach them.
The politicians on both sides of the Roe Wade issue have not codified anything. The Democrats had like 5 or 6 different opportunities since 1973 to codify Roe versus Wade into law that says the woman has a right to abortion, period, and make it a signed and sealed law. Okay, They had that opportunity. And the Republicans had the opportunity to do just the opposite, to make it write a law and say abortion is absolutely illegal, plain and simple, bum none, for all this and this and blah, 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 just how we want it, and pass that. And neither did, because both of them, every election, would use it as a tool for votes.
Yeah, if they codify it, they can't use it anymore.
But always say you have to vote us in because those Republicans, Roe versus Wade, blah blah blah, and people would respond, and that conservatives were out there too. Said, we got to vote for us so we can overturn Roe versus Wade, but they never tried to. It's like, oh, we're going to give you tax cuts, but they never did. They still say that
if they give you the tax cuts,
we're going to give you tax cuts, and they never have.
if they give you the tax cuts, then what are they going to offer? What are they going to offer to get your vote next time?
To make them truthful, they do give tax cuts, but only to the rich, and only to corporations. The average citizen doesn't ever see them.
Yeah, but they don't.
They'll point to, look, we gave you $300 last year, of cash back. Oh yeah, so. I paid you $10,000.
Well, Germania, you mentioned the justices should have known when to retire. Otherwise, the ones who passed away under Trump wouldn't have given them the power to fill their seats. I'm not so sure that would have worked, though, because you saw what happened with when Scalia died, and then Turtle Man over there held that seat open for a year.
He really put his foot down and said, "Yeah, we're going to stop Obama from putting someone else in this seat for." Yeah, it was a year, right? That last year.
And
yes, part of the plan devised in 1980.
That was Amy Coney Barrett that ended up in that seat, right?
Wait.
Yes, she's the one who hustled in front of Garland.
The seat that should have been Obama's option to.
That was Neil Gorsuch who got into that seat.
That was his seat.
Gorsuch was much before that.
I thought it was Amy Coney Barrett.
Wait a minute, Amy Coney Barrett was just before the latest.
Right, she was the first one Trump appointed. She was
She was the most recent that Trump appointed at the very end of his term so that they could hustle her through.
So was it Kavanaugh? It wasn't Kavanaugh, though. Kavanaugh came later.
Kavanaugh was the one
I remember
just before Amy.
Yeah, if I remember correctly.
He's the guy who had all those millions of dollars paid off to get him out of debt before he actually went to be interviewed for the job. Somebody paid him millions and millions and millions.
Well, I mean, yeah, there has to be those kind of things going on for. But can we lobby the Supreme Court? That's kind of messed up that someone can lobby the Supreme Court.
Well, we all do. The justices are not too immune to what people are saying that they see on the news and in the streets and stuff like that. They see this stuff, and justices in the past, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, would vote and have some influence based on what people said, because law is what they make up. Law is not some thing that is granted from absolute power in the magical sky guy. Law is what we make up. It's what we decide to do and how we decide to live and regulate each other. And so they can make up it however they want. Well, their judicial activism is just as rampant as what they accuse Democrats of with judicial activism. It's just in a different direction.
A law requires a lawgiver, right? So if we have laws of science, that requires I couldn't help it. You were talking about that. That's exactly the point, though. What you were saying there is that laws are human constructs. There's nothing to say. We as a society say, hey, we want to live in a society with these rules. Can we elect these people to have these rules enforced in our society? And that's how politics work.
Perfect example: murder. Mm-hmm. Murder's against the law, right?
Only for your fellow Israelites,
unless you're transgender.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then you've got a bullseye painted on your back.
Yeah. Then you can justify it by that you freaked out when you found out that your partner was a trans person and you murdered them. It's not your fault. You were lost your mind because
Except most of these cases, the partner knew they were trans before they ever entered the partnership.
yeah.
Okay? And then they killed them for some other reason and used that as their defense.
Yeah.
It's a lie. It's bullshit. They didn't panic. They murdered.
Yeah. That makes it freaking scary to date, to be frank. So at least to date cis men.
And it's the same as what went on with the gay panic defense. That, oh, well, I was giving this guy a blowjob, and then suddenly I found out he was gay, so I had to murder him.
I was giving him a blowjob. Oh,
folks.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Was gay panic? Did anybody get off of murder charges because of?
Oh yes, absolutely. That's where the name of it came from. Is gay panic. People were getting off from it.
That is, and now it's trans panic, and I know people have gotten off for that. I've had that happened not too long ago to a trans woman not too far from here that she got. I believe she was strangled with her own bra. The gross stuff. And that was his defense. I found out she was trans, and I blacked out. And next thing I knew, she was dead, and he got off with it. Or he got away with it. It's a sad world we live in. Okay, so we got a timeline from Maya. Thank you, Maya. You were awesome. Okay, so we had Gorsuch confirmed 2017. So we had
that was Trump's first.
That was the first. That was the one who filled the seat that Obama should have been able to fill. That Mitch McConnell drug his feet about. Then we had Brett Kavanaugh in 2018. Boofing with Squee, and then we had Amy Coney Barrett confirmed 2017.
I thought she was confirmed later than that, but
yeah, I'm sure Maya's pulling this up from an article, though. I don't doubt it. Yeah, strangled with her own bra. That's a
no.
tragic.
There was something else that went on with Amy because they hustled her through in a period of 3 weeks.
Oh yes, yeah, that was
because there was an election going on or something like that.
She's the reason why Kavanaugh's it was such a circus when they were trying to get him in there. Because how fast and sloppy that it was getting Amy Coney Barrett confirmed. I think that's why there was so much to do about getting Kavanaugh confirmed. Okay, typo. Amy Coney Barrett was 2020.
Yeah,
I thought so. Okay,
there we go. Fixed.
Before Trump was out of office.
Yeah, right. Like the last thing that one of the last things he did before the election, wasn't it? That was an election. Yeah. That was a build up to the election. Was getting her off or getting her.
She has never tried a case in her life. She had no more experience than a judge who was dealing with parking tickets.
Yeah.
But she carried the company line.
Right. She was on brand is the important thing. They had a certain brand of representation that they were looking for, a certain flavor of individual they needed to get on the courts to do the things that they have done already and the things that they're planning to do over the next few years. I don't know how long their game plan is laid out for, but Roe is just the start. Roe is the tip of the iceberg. We're going to see all kinds of stuff coming
Jason,
down.
you're right. As soon as she was in, the fix was in. We knew that Roe Wade was going to happen as soon as she went in.
Yeah.
And you're also correct that she was incompetent. They would have found another sycophant that would have carried the company line, but she's also just plain incompetent. And devoutly Catholic and...
Well, isn't she a member of one of the hyper-Catholic leagues?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Opus Dei or whatever the hell it
It's
is.
just kind of a extremist, Catholic extremist group. But I mean, we have so many people in office that are part of churches that I think could be considered extremist groups. But no, what do I know? I'm just a science chick on YouTube. I wish I knew more about politics and understood things a little bit better. But I work with
Hey,
the information enough.
I got something.
Mhm.
How about that Webb telescope?
Yeah,
Oh, yay!
that was fantastic. Those pictures.
Isn't that just amazing?
And I do want to say something though to the people. Stop hating on Hubble. Hubble was amazing when we first got it, and we were first
Oh,
able
sure.
to see what the expanses of the galaxy really look like. Even though we were looking through a cruder image than we have now, we were also when Hubble was launched, we had CRT TVs. I mean, or not CRT. The tube televisions. What's the term I'm looking for? We had, this is just an advancement in technology, but that's not to say that there's anything. Hubble was there for so long and did so many wonderful things. There's so many wonderful images we've received from Hubble. It needs love, not hate. Let's retire Hubble and replace it with this new technology. But people are like, oh, Hubble sucks compared to this. No, Hubble was the groundbreaker. Hubble was the vanguard.
I'm gonna miss Hubble when he's gone.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Mars rover when it finally conked out. It was kind of sad. But look at those pictures. Oh my gosh, I just want to freaking fly through them.
I downloaded the one of Creamy or whatever. I forget the name. The file is 125 megabytes, and it damn near crashed my phone.
Yeah.
It. But the detail was even better than what they showed yesterday or day before. I mean, or whatever that was. I forget. It's even better than we know it to be right now.
So, as much as I despise the billionaire blowhards, I do hope their racing to space provides even more cosmic info like NASA and Webb have. Yeah, I do like that the space race has been reignited, and we're moving towards it. And I don't know if Amanda's still listening in there or not, or if she's still away. But I absolutely agree that Elon Musk pissing everybody off is a great stimulation for other people to try to beat him to the stuff he's trying to do. I'm not an Elon Musk fan at all. Just to be clear. They keep oh, there's PZ. Hey PZ. They keep showing stars.
Hi.
What's that?
What?
Oh, well, I just asked what you were saying, but yeah, they keep showing stars and galaxies. I want to see that infrared detector turned on potential life.
Well, one of the pictures from the introduction was exactly what you're asking for, and it showed this planet that is a gas giant that's closer to its sun, like almost Mercury kind of distance, that rotates its sun in 3.4 days, and they stated all the various oxygen and gas levels of its atmosphere.
You think
it's already done that, and it will continue to.
That's wild. Yeah, I was joking on Facebook the other day, and I posted, I was like, how far out do we have to fly this thing before we can turn it around and look back at Earth to see dinosaurs? And somebody came in the comments thinking I was serious and like, oh, it doesn't work that way. You're a big dumb. It's like, oh my gosh. Technically, you could turn it back towards Earth right now and see dinosaurs. So I don't know what he's talking about.
They are going to apparently use it and look at some of our own planets.
Yeah, some of the planets in our.
They were supposed to have images of Jupiter out today, I think.
Oh, really?
I knew all we had to do was talk about astrophysics, I guess is the term we use to get her back in here talking. So, you got any insight for us regarding this? You said pictures of Venus.
Jupiter. I wasn't I didn't expect them to, at least so soon, be looking into our own solar system. I mean, it's cool, and I haven't gotten a chance to look. I know, like I said, there was supposed to be a Jupiter image today. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm more interested in the further out and the resolution further out and stuff that we haven't been able to really see before. But it's, we wouldn't have what we have now for the Hubble. And Bree's right, don't hate on the first wife, because it was all a step forward. And it's kind of sad that everybody's like, oh, look at it, like all the comparisons, like, look at this shitty Hubble picture. Well, actually, that shitty Hubble picture was fucking groundbreaking, not that long ago. So let's not hate a little
Like
bit.
the picture we just got of the black hole.
The thing that's most impressive to me between the two is, yeah, the resolution's great, but the fact that they did that deep field shot in a couple hours in the morning versus Hubble having to take 2 weeks and a dozen exposures that were stacked over a period of hours and hours of exposure. And boom, and they just took a quick picture here. It's like a snapshot.
Well, they keep coming out with these clearest pictures. The one of so Pluto. I have a thing about Pluto. It's like my favorite planet and all that. But I have a thing about it in the pictures of it and the colors that they use on the pictures of it. It's gorgeous. Yes, I know. It's okay. A dwarf planet has planet in the name.
Still not a planet, though. Just saying.
You know what else? Planetoid has planet in the name. I know. I'm just being a smart ass. I like all the little ones, all the little heavenly bodies. I think Make and Ceres and all these little bodies. But I think I feel like Pluto is the king of the little exoplanets. Well, I guess you couldn't call Ceres an exoplanet since it's in the asteroid belt, but the rest of them are all exoplanets out beyond Neptune. But I love the images that we're getting of those over the last few months as well.
Well, they're going to be focusing it on some of the asteroids too. We're going to learn a whole bunch fucking more about them.
Yeah, Andrew, it's just only because of what we've had a connection to before, like that. This is something new, and being able to see further on and to be able to I'm kind of more curious about black holes and anomalies, and hopefully being able to get a little bit more of an idea of how much dark matter there is in the universe, things like that, the actual answers, instead of just like images. The images are cool, but it's what we'll be able to see in between the lines that is much more impressive. So
that image of the black hole from it's been about 18 months ago or whatnot, but that was breakthrough. And I know at some point in time we're going to say, oh, look at this old timey picture of a black hole that we had from way back when. But that's freaking doesn't take away how groundbreaking that was when it happened, when we got that first image.
Yeah,
that was before that. Black holes were, for all cause and purposes, hypothetical or theoretical. We'd never been able to visually observe them. So, yeah, amazing stuff y'all are doing, Amanda.
I couldn't even, when I was studying, when I was in college for it, we weren't able to see images like that. It was just theoretical. So, since I've worked in the field, it's a big difference.
The web took 20 years to put together. It was supposed to launch 10 years ago, but it didn't. One of the reasons for its delay was that they kept updating the imaging units, the imaging technology that they were using to keep more current with what our capabilities were. One of the
720, 1080.
Yeah, one of the limitations of Hubble is that it was designed and built on technology that was 20 years older than when it was launched. Okay, like the space shuttle was this amazing piece of engineering, but it was 30 years old before it even launched. You know,
Yeah.
but they tried not to do that with web. They tried to keep web's systems the most current they could, and it was kind of last minute installation of some of the imagery and sensors and things. You know,
It's got 4K cameras on it, doesn't it?
Mhm.
yeah, well, they might be
Sure.
8K.
There might be what?
They might be 8K. 8K was out
8K?
before the construction was done.
That's amazing. With Hubble probably has like maybe 420 or something like that. Or not 420, 480. 420 means something totally different to Bree.
Hubble was launched in 1981. Digital cameras did not exist.
You know. So the resolution, it was just I
81?
guess
I thought it was 86.
Nope. Well, okay. Let me think back.
with 81, I wasn't born yet.
I don't know if it's 86, but it's definitely early, or the early side of 85. And, Maya, look it up, please.
We're looking over here.
Yeah.
Oh my! Hang on. No, that's not. I want to find. Launched into low Earth orbit in 1990.
Oh, so
No,
we're
that's
both off.
that's way off. I remember
No, it's
because I
not.
just switched my job and I took my lunch hour off to go watch it at a guy's house that lived nearby, and we got back later because we got drunk. But that was okay back then.
Yeah. There's so many. That's what my feed's been full of. That was pictures comparing the old Hubble pictures to, and I get why they're doing it, but I just Hubble was so amazing to see and watch. The ISS is amazing and fun to watch, and they're phasing it out too. So the future, we're moving forward, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, I was wishing that they would have made plans to refurbish Hubble and get it back out there and all this kind of stuff. But now when I see what Webb can do compared to it, it's like, well,
Yeah, I think it was a cost matter as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it
that's better
cost
though,
more than it was worth.
well, I hate that statement on anything. It's all arbitrary.
Yeah, true.
Was it worth the billions they spent on it to build it?
Well,
I would say
the Hubble they
very
couldn't
much worth the
fix.
billions
There
they
are
spent.
certain things that they literally couldn't fix on it because they weren't the way it was built. It wasn't meant to update, so we weren't able to remotely update it. There's just nothing that we could do. So I mean, we had to have a replacement of some sort, but it just still at the same
Oh, you
time.
guys are looking up Hubble 1990. I thought you were looking up the space shuttle's first launch.
Oh no, Space Shuttle's
I'm
first
sorry.
launch was 80.
Space shuttle. Which space shuttle?
The space
Yeah.
shuttle. First one was Columbia, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Columbia. Okay.
Thomas Cripp.
Young and Crippen were the crew.
Crippen, yeah. And the external fuel tank was white.
Yeah.
They stopped painting it white because they realized how much weight they would save.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not insignificant.
Yeah.
No.
How much paint weighs? People just don't think about it, I guess.
Yeah. But 1990, digital cameras were in basic experimental stages, but they didn't hit the consumer market until like 94, 95.
Yeah.
And then they were 2-3 megapixel. I know because I spent $1,000 on one.
Yeah. I always seem like when I get a camera, it's within months that they come out with a new
Yeah,
higher
absolutely.
resolution or feature. Of course, I don't have any camera now, so I guess I shouldn't complain about having an outdated camera. Even
I bought a kit for the purpose of taking it with me to view the solar eclipse, and it's served me very, very well. I bought it in 16, and it's been a very good camera to me.
Yeah. You spend a lot of time taking pictures,
Yeah, mostly cat pictures.
cat pictures. That's what the internet loves, though.
Say again?
That's what the internet loves.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I should do with my channel. You know, screw the educational shit. Let's just show cat pictures. What do you think, little one?
You could call it Lavender's Pussy Channel.
Lavender's pussy.
Well, when I first showed up, the line was always, "Hey, Lavender, can we see your pussy?" And then, of course, they're talking about Sylvia over here.
I gotta get going.
Go on.
Text me later, Bree, and happy birthday. You guys have fun.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good to
I
see you.
love-
Biggie boo
Love
boo
ya.
and boo.
Love you guys. Bye.
Take care, Amanda.
I love spider pictures, PZ. I come to your channel to watch your little spiders hatch and do their work and build their webs and all that good stuff. So,
I sent you that picture I did of a garden spider, didn't I? The big yellow black orb spider.
yeah, has it been recently? I've received quite a few. Was it on Twitter?
Yeah, maybe a year, 2 years.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that. Let me pull it back up. I can share it. Ginny, the Queen Nothing note here. Oh, there it is. Yep, a gorgeous example. Let me share. This is this picture that Ginny sent to me of a beautiful orb weaver, and this is for you, PZ.
Share it. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep. A gray uppie.
Ooh.
Yellow and black garden spider, yellow and black orb weaver. I like how they use the red background there. I think maybe it was a trash can or what, but it really makes the yellow pop on this little lady.
Toe tip to toe tip, folks. That thing's about the size of the palm of your hand.
Okay.
And now we're not talking a tiny little girl's hand.
Yeah, they are so cool. I love orb weavers. I would never keep one in captivity though, because they need space to build their giant orb webs, and that's just not nice to limit their space. If I had one in captivity, it would probably just mean that it was in my garden, like in my backyard. It wouldn't mean it wasn't a vivarium, because they're seasonal and you got to let them do their cycle. That's what they're here for. They're all over Texas. People from Texas are always sending me giant orb weavers saying, look at the size of this spider, because they're huge. But we get them that huge here too. I'm in Illinois. I know Jenny's north of me. Both you ladies are north of me, and you all get these there too. So everywhere across the U.S. we get them, and they're massive. They are kind of going to be at risk here in the with competition with these invasive Joro spiders that we're getting. But for the most part, and that's something else I did with PZ. Me and PZ did a video about the Joro spiders not too long ago, before it started getting warm, because there was a big scare about them coming in and just being an invasive pest. These giant spiders are going to be ballooning into your area, which implied that they were going to be ballooning in their giant state. Spiders don't balloon once they're adults. They balloon when they're little tiny babies, and they're completely harmless.
Yeah, if you don't like spiders in your house, look for egg sacs and crush them.
Mm-hmm.
You can wipe them all out at once.
Yeah, the problem with getting rid of your spiders in your house is that your house is an ecosystem, and getting rid of a predator in that ecosystem does cause a bloom in the prey species. So crush spider eggs at your own risk.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, New Hampshire now.
House spiders are the guys that make the cobwebs.
Yeah, there's cellar spiders, house spiders. The house spiders are that's what PZ studies. He collects the little egg sacs of
Hey.
house spiders. He's got a.
Answer me a question. Have you observed spiders close enough in terms of their web building to explain to me how they get from one branch to another branch 2 feet away for that first strand of silk?
No, I don't think I've ever like visually observed it. At least not not the point where they're making that first string from one branch to the other. I haven't seen that, but I think that would be a situation where they would have to make a jump, make a leap of faith.
I don't know. I've wondered that all my life.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, it wouldn't be the first one. They'd have to do at least 3.
Yeah, have to do three leaps. Yeah, these are Stetoda and Parastetoda. Stetoda is the. Again, correct me if I get this backwards. Stetoda is the house spider. Parastetoda is what we would call in the USA false widow spider. I may have that flipped backwards. PZ says PZ is the scientist here, so I'm going with what he says. They jump and swing or backtrack to a branch point and then go forward. So yeah, I'll go with
there
that.
go the neighborhood schools here.
Yeah, just Stan Lee. Okay, I got it backwards. I knew I was going to get it backwards, PZ. Thank you. So Stetoda is anyway, I said it backwards. Just for
You did it back. You mean spiders invented Stan Lee?
Yeah, like he's responding to Stool. Yes. You did know that harvestmen are not spiders. Yes, I know harvestmen are not spiders. They're arachnids, closer
They're daddy long legs.
So they're ambulate pigeon is non-venomous. Harvestman is non-venomous too. They are behaviorally quite different from most spiders too. There is a little bit of convergence there, and obviously the homology is from being an arachnid, but their physiological and behavioral stuff is closer to like an ambulate pigeon or what they call a tailless whip scorpion, which people also claim as a spider, but is definitely not. I thought spiders put their abdomen in the air and the wind carried the silk and catches the branches. Yes. That's a possibility too. I don't know. I'm going to go.
There's a spider called the balloon spider that sends a large strand of silk off, and it's able to catch enough wind and have enough force in the length because of the length of it to lift the spider off the ground and to move it to a different place.
Yeah, and a lot of spider species do that when they first hatch. That's one of the first things that they'll do is...
I have heard pilots talk about having spiders hit their windshield up at 10,000, 15,000 feet.
Mm-hmm. It's not just the wind and the air currents that carry them either. They're actually directionally, they follow Earth's magnetic pole, and that helps them. That also helps with their flying and directionality. So they aren't just floating away and just going to the whims of nature. They are at least a measure of control over where they end up at.
I thought all their control came from spider farts.
Spider farts, they do fart themselves into the air. Did I sidetrack the conversation from JW satellite to spiders? You sure did.
No, it's all science. It's okay.
That's what I'm here for. And you bring up spiders, you know what you're going to do, PC. You start talking about spiders on my channel, you're going to get me every time. I dislike scorpions as much as I like spiders. I love scorpions. I don't even have a scorpion anymore. Like I just said, my giant desert hairy scorpion died, so I don't have.
Ooh, I saw this picture of a house it was an abandoned house, but it was filled like every square inch with scorpions, just thousands and thousands and thousands in
Ooh,
one
that's
spot.
cool.
Fucking scary as hell.
Yeah, that's pretty cool though. All right, well, ladies, I think I'm gonna call it from here and go have some dinner. I do appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. And
Well, thanks for having me here.
yeah,
Seriously.
Jenny, thank you for coming on. Amanda, of course. Who else we had on? We had Cupcake on. We had Paul Camish pop in. Thank you, everybody. Beige Wolf was in here early on. I really do appreciate all my friends coming and hanging out and just paying me a visit. Everybody who came into the side chat to say happy birthday, even though you couldn't pop in. That's I appreciate you and love you so much. And people are like, "Oh man, I just got here. I just got here." Of course, that happens every time I start to close out. I've been going about 3 hours. I just want some dinner. I may pop it into somebody else's stream after I'm finished eating though. So
There
just
you go.
because I'm in here, I'll be out there elsewhere in the interwebs. I need to start popping into Diana's open chats more and hanging out because I love spending time with you,
Oh,
Diana.
please do. Please do. Love to have you.
And
But,
Jenny, I
meanwhile,
really do
there's
appreciate you coming.
in the kitchen,
No
there
problem.
is a steak calling my
I owed the
name.
community a visit since I missed purples yesterday because of my doctor's appointment. I got a new internal medicine doctor. She is absolutely a doll. She's just a wonderful, brilliant woman, and just bubbly and pleasant and kind. And I'm just so thrilled to have her as a new doctor. And she's much younger than me, so I'll get to die before she does.
Oh,
Oh my.
all right. Please remember to be kind and take care. And hopefully, I'll be seeing everybody Saturday. I don't know how I'm going to do the show just yet. Patent pending. Much love from the Hive and good night.
Take care, hon.
Bye bye. Love you, chat.